Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Huzzah, huzzah. We are here to play Pathfinder 2E tonight. Why? Because we are celebrating the end of our Pathfinder 2E Complete Character Chronicles Kickstarter. It ends on Monday. So we are celebrating this weekend. It's been so much fun. It's been a great success, but we still have a long way to go before the end of the day, Monday. We're still trying to unlock one of our 6 books. The 5 that are available are up on our website, but there's one more mystery book that is yet to be revealed if we can hit that tier and unlock it. So we're super excited about revealing that, but we still haven't hit that, and we're not going to be satisfied until we do. Matt, how was the drunken mailbag that we did last night?
We did drunken mailbag. I got emotional and cried, which happens all the time. It makes me very sad. I'm a very sappy person, but I cried. I was thinking of you, Jake. When I was thinking of you, and it made me cry. No, it was great. Look, it was nice to, in the middle of a pandemic, the world's getting locked down again, to come together, to F around with friends and sort of share space and share stories of Thanksgiving. And it ended up in a really sort of emotional place, and that's the way it was. So it was great. I loved it. It was good.
Well, look, this game tonight is super special for me. We have a very special guest, my older brother, Rob, and I do say older. He is older than me. But Rob and I have been gaming since we were pre-teens, and we've played. Rob. I mean, we've played D&D, we've played Pathfinder, we've played Earth Dawn, we've played Boot Hill, we've played Champions, Villains and Vigilantes. I forget the spy one, but so many different games over the years, and so great to have you on DMing, or I should say GMing this game. So welcome.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Bob, have you ever streamed live?
Only for my company. So I've done Q&As for like our games, but I've never streamed DMing. So I'm nervous. It's terrible.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Don't worry.
Just quietly sit and judge until you hand out magic.
Just don't kill me and it'll be fine. So let's go around the room. Rob, anything else you want to say?
Sure. My studio is Standing Stone Games. We make some fine games, and check us out, Dungeons & Dragons Online, Lord of the Rings Online. I run a LARP called Magical LARP. You can check that out as well. And more importantly, I'm John's bigger brother. So that's my biggest claim to fame. So here we go.
I have played in Rob's LARP and several times, and it's super fun. Jake?
Hi, my name is Jake, and I run a website called QueueTimes, which we stream 7 days a week. And we also have a show called Game Gorgon, where we do very specific Pathfinder 2nd Edition educational stuff, as well as like builds and weird stuff. And then every Sunday, we actually play Pathfinder 2nd Edition, a game called Court of Corvids, which is basically true crime in a fantasy realm. So, yeah.
Yeah, check that out. It's awesome. Troy?
Oh, hi. First of all, I want to hear more about this LARP. I want photos before the end of the session. So see what you can do. I'm from the Glass Cannon Network, one of the creators of the Glass Cannon Network. We do Pathfinder, right now, Pathfinder 1st Edition shows. We also do a Starfinder show. We have a couple of Pathfinder Adventure Paths that are on our Patreon. And then we have this other show called New Game Who Dis, which we're going to start streaming in the new year, which started as like a Patreon show where we're just playing a new RPG every week. And we're going to be kicking off the year with a little Cyberpunk Red. Just got the book yesterday, and it's awesome.
Is it?
Yeah, it looks pretty great. So yeah, we are constantly gaming, and I don't have time for friends or family anymore, which is really Tragic.
Hey, thanks for joining us.
Oh, glad to be here.
Noura?
Hi, everyone. I'm Noura Ibrahim, professional nerd. You can find me on such networks as Realmsmith, playing D&D, playing in a cyberpunk game with Matt Lillard, Call of Cthulhu on Initiative Order, D&D on Damsels and Dice. Basically, if you follow me on my socials, you can find out what thing I'm doing on what day with what people. I will never turn a game down, basically. So excited to play Pathfinder for the first time tonight.
All right, Matthew.
I'm Matt Lillard. I'm one of the founders of Beadle and Grimm's. I'm John's ex-roommate for we lived together for 17 years, 18 years, it feels like. And I'm excited to be here tonight because to play with Troy and to play with Jake, who are two guys that we've never had a chance to share the table before. So I'm excited to play with you guys. And I'm excited to see a bunch of new people in the chat. It's super fun. I mean, we just got into streaming, so you guys have brought your audience to our little channel, and we're excited to have you. And I'm excited to play with Rob because it's a real treat. He's like somebody I look up to, and I love playing with him, so it's a good opportunity. And you can find me on social media, Matthew Lillard, and I'm on a show called Good Girls, and I'm ready to get after it.
Major motion picture star.
Major guys, major for everyone. I'm huge.
I just want to point out, Matt, that I think you lived with John as long as I did, and I'm his brother.
Yeah.
Just a really special shout out. Thank you to Justice, who is producing tonight. We could not have done this without him. So big shout out for him. And yeah, let's dive into the game.
All right, you ready?
I attack.
All right.
Immediately.
Janine and Mittens, you both are sitting in seats facing each other, and it's rumbling. And you grab onto the brass handle next to you just so you don't slide down the bench and right off of it. As you're looking at each other worryingly, wondering how you got here, a man next to you points up at the ceiling and says, "I think someone's out there." It's Master Knit Faladin. And as you're holding on in this big, somewhat well-appointed carriage on your way to Absalom, you realize that, yes, you think that there is something out there because something is bumping or scraping against the side. And you kind of look to your other companions. You can see Vargas, who you met earlier, kind of sitting across the row from you. And then on the other side, where there's big seats in between you, it looks like there's some other commotion going on at the top. And you can see that desperately Master Faladin, Esquire, by the way. He's kind of a small guy. He has like maroon robes and brass buttons, and he's carrying a big sort of locked book, and he points. He looks extremely nervous and says, "I think that there's something out there. What should we do?" And you kind of look at each other, and you're sitting in ornate but rather plain seats. You would have expected anyone traveling this long would have some kind of cushions, but this carriage does not. And it's the only carriage you could get to Absalom. And you hear and scraping, and all of a sudden, the whole area jumps up, and you kind of go off your seat. And Mittens, you don't know that much about carriages, but you're pretty sure that no carriage this big should be traveling this fast for so long. And you're a little worried about like both the horses and maybe the big wheels that you can hear grinding underneath you.
So did something physically shake the carriage, or was it just a bump?
Run over something? Something might have landed on it. It's hard to tell. Are you do you have the second level of perception yet, or are you just trained?
I am just trained in perception.
So you hear on it. You're gonna have to make a D20 roll if you're gonna do that.
I shall. Terrible. 8.
Yeah, you're not sure. You don't know.
Everything's fine.
Maybe some giant kick the side of this thing. You have no idea. And then you hear like calling out. Sir John is definitely agitated up front about something, but you can't quite see. And Master Master Knit looks at you and says, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Janine, are you doing anything?
Well, you know, I think we really ought to see what's going on out there because I get kind of motion sickness. And so we either need to see what's going on or I am not going to be doing well on I'm going to make a mess out of things here because I just ate lunch.
See what's going on? No, you can't open and they have big shutters that are currently closed. And you know up front, they've already thrown open the shutters to see what's going on outside. And, but your shutters got pulled close. In fact, it was Master Knit that pulled them closed.
Well, I don't see what good that's going to do.
It will protect us.
From what? Sunlight?
No, and you know that something is out there. In fact, now you hear something moving along the roof. And you've been running, and you know that there are like marks on the wagon where you've been attacked, and like everything is going on.
We should arm ourselves and step outside.
I agree, because honestly, I can't take much more of this ride. It's kind of bumpy.
You can call up to the master guy who's riding who's apparently leading the horses, and with you can hear him occasionally snap the reins and ask him to pull the coach to the side. It's a very large coach. You were surprised that it sat a full 8 people in it, and there's like a little it's even wide enough to have a small 1.5 foot aisle down the middle. And there's like 2 different sections, and you 3 are in one with Master Knit, and there's 4 other people up in front of you. And then there's a cry out from the Lady Lestrand, who's sitting up in front of you, but you can't see her right now.
Oh, well, if I can go try to make my way over to the driver there with the little cramped space, but I'll try to make my way up there to him. You
do. You grab the side, and the whole thing like shakes like this as it's riding on. You move up, make a dexterity check.
All right.
If you have athletics or acrobatics, you can use those.
Oh no. Acrobatics, cool. 14.
You do. It's a little rough. And then you slide open the little window that leads up, and you can see that the caravan leader, who's a kind of a tall, handsome black man he still managed to wearing his derby, so he must be a professional. He looks down at you suddenly as he's climbing onto the reins and says, "What is it? What is it?"
Hi there. Hello, Janine O'Connor. So nice to meet you. I just had a little question. Maybe if you could just kind of slow it down there, or maybe just stop altogether so we could see what's out there, because it just kind of seems like something really bad. And I don't think it's going to do you any good to just keep pulling on the reins there, fella.
Just a minute. He ducks really close to you, and you hear what sounded like 2 crossbow bolts whiz over his head. He almost loses his hat and catches it. Puts it back on his head, and he goes, "I don't know if that's a good idea, although Sir John has been calling for me to stop it so he could fight them, but there are a number of riders chasing us still."
Bring this thing to a halt! Let me show them the pointy end of my sword!
Vargas, you're wondering how you got here, and you're thinking back to the beginning of the day. 4 hours previous, rather, you're in the city of Diablo. It's in the western part of the Isle of Cortos. You've all arrived in a busy fishing village. It's built with a lot of raised docks and such, and you've all had tickets to go to Absalom. None of you were able to afford a ticket to Absalom itself, because the Festival of Radiance is taking place very soon, and all of the ships have been booked. So the plan of many people was to take a ship to Diablo, which is it's a large village, but it's more of a fishing village. So it's much, much cheaper to get here and then take a caravan out to Absalom. And all of you have gotten a ticket on this well-appointed, if plain caravan. It's a big coach with 8 seats. And you're walking along the busy streets. There are a number of coaches that are being quickly filled. And so you're making sure you get your slot, because if you're late, there's a lot of people waiting to try to get to Absalom for the Festival of Light. And you can see the first person in is Vargas, who arrives early to kind of look and check out the place. What are you doing, Vargas, as you look into this large, well-appointed carriage? You can see it has 4 doors. All of the windows have shutters, and you can see there are 2 people. There's a tall black man who actually he owns the whole carriage. It's new. He bought the carriage. It's fresh, and because there's so much business, he is planning on taking this last carriage out himself with his gnome appointed. The bagman is a gnome who's kind of like moving various bags and suitcases and boxes and tying it to the top.
Vargas, the first thing he does is he walks around the cart. He's a very paranoid person and is very assured of weird occult actions in his past. So he just makes sure that there's no weird symbols, there's no weird carvings or anything, symbolism that might be a little off that he shouldn't see. And then once he is satisfied and walks around, he just reaches in his pocket and grabs a few grubs, feeds it to his crow Vex, and gets
the crow seems appreciative.
And then he gets inside and sits and waits for everyone else. He keeps an eye out the entire time, seeing who enters after him.
What's your Arcana?
My Arcana is trained, so it's a +9.
Nice.
I'm going to roll that one because I don't want you to know if you succeeded or not.
Okay.
But you give it the once over, and it's all dark wood with brass fittings. You can see that there's 2 lanterns at the top, up near where the driver would obviously sit, and there's 4 pretty large horses that are going to drive this thing. It's a huge carriage. It's like almost 9 feet wide and maybe 12 feet long, not including the little side where the baggage is. You can see that there's a big crossbow, like a heavy crossbow up on top where probably the gnome sits. And inside there's a lot of plain wooden benches. Now you've seen carriages that are much better appointed leaving this place, but you've
hey, look, you pay for what you get. You know what I mean?
Right. Nonetheless, it's comfortable. And as you're doing that, you can see another person kind of coming up with bags. Troy, can you describe Mittens as you come up to try to find your place, looking at your ticket?
Yeah. So coming up, you see this beautiful anthropomorphic cat who is head to toe draped in chainmail. Looks pretty muscular, but you think those might be show muscles and not for real action. He kind of looks around at everything and seems very out of place and wary, kind of looking behind him, looking around, taking the scene in. And he just steps up to the carriage and is like, hello there.
Do you have a ticket?
Yeah, I believe I have one on me somewhere. Yes. Yes. Here it is.
The gnome peers at it, seems satisfied, and says, "Can I take your bags?"
Oh no, that's I'm happy to put this. Let me know where to put them. I'm used to carrying my own bags, as it were. Where should I throw them?
How about if we make a deal? I'll take your bags and put them on the top, and you won't have to do anything.
All right. Yes, that's fine. I used
He takes your bags and climbs up there's like a little ladder onto the roof, and he lugs the bags on and starts tying them down.
He's just watching the whole time. Like,
you're left as someone else hurries up on either side. Janine arrives on one side and Sir John haughtily comes on the other. You can see the large carriage that you have a ticket for, and you're pretty sure this is it.
Yeah, I'm approaching, and as I get there, I've got my rucksack and I've got my shield on one side, and it's weird. I've got this little like a halfling artist. Who's beckoning me to hold still for one more minute, and I go, all right. And as he gets there, he puts down his sack and he takes his knee and he goes down to one knee as the halfling is, you can see he's drawing the visage of Sir John. He's like drawing and like, it seems to be an artist capturing his likeness.
Is he using
Like,
charcoal or magic?
No, it's
Like,
charcoal.
it's charcoal.
Smeared with charcoal all over. He's like, I thank you for your time. Thank you so much for your time. As I strike the post, and he's not beautiful. His hair, he's got a shaved head, but you see like fresh scars over his face. And he says to Janine, he says, you should sit next to me. Let's be honest. Wherever we're going, you want to be near me.
Oh, well, hello there. Hi, I'm Janine O'Connor. So nice to meet you. Say, are you going to the festival?
Sir John Templeton, I have been requested to fight in the open battles.
Oh, wow, golly, I love that part of the festival. But I have been looking forward to this for so long. My favorite part is the food, but I will make sure to go watch your battle there.
You should. They're going to be good. And as he's like trying to talk to Janine, the halfling's like moving his face back to him. He's like, "Come, I can't. Hold still. Sorry." He needs to continue to capture my visage.
Felix, you're walking up looking, and as you walk up, all of you are seeing this. Now you're all kind of standing outside of the carriage, kind of looking at the spectacle.
You say spectacle. I say gorgeous hunk of a human.
Sir John Templeton. So you realize that there's a problem. As John, describe your character as you come up to the carriage.
Yes, as I approach the carriage, I'll say to the ticket taker very carefully that it is Felix, not Felix. And if he pronounces it Felix, I get very annoyed. And I have a very dark pink hair over my elven ears. And on one cheek, I have the smiling theater face tattooed. And on my other cheek, I have the frowning theater face tattooed.
Oh my God! I attack!
And as I approach, I look around to see who my traveling companions might be. A smile on one face, that's one side of my mouth, and a little bit of a frown on the other.
The caravan master.
Sorry.
The caravan master, Beryl Forbright, kind of looks at you and does not get your name wrong. Yes, he leads this way. My man will take your bags. As he goes and checks on the horses, and the gnome looks. What was it, Felix?
It is Felix. Please, I beg you.
Do you have bags?
I travel light.
You're gonna hold them inside the carriage then? He eyes you. All right. And then you see two dwarves come up holding tickets. Excuse me. And you can see a nervous fellow with a weak chin. He kind of has a large nose. He's not an older fellow, but he's small and his hair is already thinning. He's wearing, though, very nice robes in crimson or maroon with brass buttons and a white tall collar. And he's holding a big book with a lock that's visible on it. Yes, excellent. Well met, everyone. I am Master Nick Paladin. I suppose we shall all be traveling together. And he looks at a big trunk, and the gnome like comes down the ladder, picks up the trunk one-handed, which the trunk is like a little bigger than the gnome, but he manages to get up on top and starts tying it down. And Master Nick like looks at all of you and then climbs into the carriage to pick a seat.
Okay. Is he armored or is he like a caster? Like, what can I make a perception check?
No need. It's pretty obvious. You just look at him. He has long robes of maybe a guild master, not a guild member, and you can see that his fingers are stained black with ink, and he definitely has like a writing kit sticking out of his pouch.
He's the press.
Maybe.
He's here to chronicle my achievements.
He looks at you. I am a scribe, sir. If you have legal documents to be drafted, I would be glad to do that. I hope that I am not in any way insulting you by making that distinction.
No, that's all right. I have no need for legal documents.
He seemed relieved.
Unless there's a will and testament coming my way.
Well, let us hope not. He says, how could you say such a thing?
Highly
doubtful. The Festival of Light.
Highly doubtful.
I just say, like, he's a big fighter.
Big.
Oh,
big.
Who's climbing into the carriage at this point?
I am. Vargas just looks at everyone and just kind of shakes his head and just walks right in right after and finds a seat as soon as he can.
There's 2 steps in, and it's pretty tall. You could almost stand up in this. You could. It looks like the scribe is sitting in one of the back seats, and you can choose what seat to pick. Going in, the easiest thing is to just sit across from him so other people getting in have.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go to the back seat, like whatever, so it's easier for everyone else to get in.
Yes. 2 dwarves are waiting with tickets, and you hear someone say, "Hold the caravan, just a minute. Hold the caravan, sir. I need a ride to Absalon. Yours is the last caravan." And the master says, "I'm sorry, miss, we're full." And you can see a woman who's broad-shouldered, and she has a round face, and her hair is tied up by decorative pins and almost like a big heart-shaped hook. And her hair is all done up in lavender and silver, and it matches her dress. She's in a long dress of lavender and gray, and she has a charge who's wearing a maroon and gray, almost like a wool mantle, but it's long on her with a tall hood that's pulled over her face. And the madam has, she says, no, I must, our carriage, the horses fell ill, and I must, is there something you can do? And he says, we're all full, and he kind of points. And so the woman goes over and starts talking to the 2 dwarves holding tickets, and they're having a heated discussion. And the woman with her sheepishly is waiting. Are you going to get into the carriage? And he does the whistle to indicate that they'll be leaving soon.
Yes, I'm jumping on.
You do. You jump on and grab one of the front seats, trying to get away from the door so people have a chance to get in. And having no bags that went up on the top.
Mittens will go directly to the carriage he was in at the beginning of the session, just for continuity's sake.
Thank you.
But he takes a long time to decide before.
I sell my seat, and I'm out.
I believe we started in medias res, and I was here. I'll go in there. And he steps in.
I mean, as you're getting ready to get in, the woman seems to come with some deal, and she has a relatively medium-sized silk purse, and she opens it and takes out quite a bit of gold and pays it to the dwarves, and the dwarves hand over their tickets, nodding to each other. And she nods and smiles at them, and then like fans herself a little bit, ushers along the teenager, and they both go up. And she's, greetings. I am Lady Bibi Lestrand.
Bibi what?
Lestrand.
Lady Bibi Lestrange, so nice to meet you. My name is Janine O'Connor, also going to the festival. I love your get up there. You look like a really classy lady. I love that outfit, and I couldn't help but notice the hair matching the dress. You just look lovely, my dear.
She smiles at you with bright eyes. She takes your hand and curtsies instead of shaking it. What's your perception?
My perception is trained +6.
Yeah, make a roll.
No.
Unless you have like investigation.
Let me see which helps more. No, I think that's it. So it's a 17.
Oh, nice. You notice something interesting. She's not wearing the shoes that would be popular in court, which would be kind of a buckled high heel one. Instead, she's wearing they are dark purple, so they do match, but they are a sensible shoe that buckles up the side. As she curtsies and pulls back her, like this is a shoe you could run in if you needed to.
Say there, I couldn't help but notice you wearing comfy footwear. I am the same kind of way. I always say to myself, if I'm ever going to go somewhere, I'm going to wear comfy shoes because you never know what's going to happen.
Oh, I think we'll get along just fine here. Please, after you, she says, and beckons into the cart. Come along.
Are they armed at all, Rob? Looking at them, are they armed at all?
The teenage girl has a dagger.
Like does it feel like ornamental, or is it sensible like the shoes?
It's it's sensible. You see that the dress, however, is pretty expensive. There are rich materials in it, and as she climbs in and sits down, you notice that she acts and folds the dress so that it folds over in an attractive manner. But she has a tall collar with gray lacing, and her hair is done up. And
she's well versed. So yeah. Rob, when everyone, I'm gonna let everyone get into the carriage first.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go to the halfling and say, it's time to pay me. On the very down low, he's like, here. You're a beautiful model. Thank you so much. So I'll like look at him and like, this is it? This is all there is? You promised me more. That's all it's worth. And we'll start to haggle a little, but I'll take whatever pence silver and put it in my pocket. I'm broke. He's so broke. He has no money. He's like John at Circle in the Square. He's broke as can be.
Make a perception check as you climb back into the carriage.
And I'll try to get myself next to the rich people because sometimes a natural one, Bob.
Okay. As you do so, the gnome watches as the halfling picks your pocket and takes his money back as you climb into the thing, and he waves bye to you. And you end up in the carriage with like nothing in your pouch. And what's worse is you notice that all of the you kind of push in and sit next to the good lady Bebe Lestrange.
Okay, Bebe Lestrange.
So it turns out that Felix and John and Lady Bebe and the teenage girl are up in the front, and the other four of you, including Master Knit, are in the back.
Perfect.
And there's a whistle, and then the gnome comes and closes the door and checks to make sure it's not open. He looks everybody in. He makes sure that everything is full. And is there everyone has given me their luggage? Okay, good. And he climbs in, and it's a long ride.
I do have my shield on me, Rob. I make sure to take that with me. I have a feeling we're going to be in trouble soon.
You have this weird feeling. So you take your shield and all your armaments and sit down, and like you put the shield on the thing of the side, which takes up a little more room than is comfortable. But fortunately, you're kind of next to Lady Bive's charge, and she doesn't take up much room and doesn't seem to complain that there's a shield now sitting on the chair next to her.
And I immediately start to try to be charming. I have a charisma of 10. It goes horrible. I'm just not charming at all. And I just never stop talking, Rob. I talk the entire time, only exclusively about myself and what I feel is my best qualities about me.
Okay.
I also have a charisma of 10. I think that's why we both always talk so much.
We just keep talking about us.
You're talking?
Just all the time.
It's like a Hollywood party, Rob. It's like a Hollywood party in the front section of the caravan.
The whole caravan starts going, and Migs, you notice something.
Yes.
Lady Bebe starts talking to your illustrious warrior companion. And in doing so, she's drawing out from him some bits about his life and such. And normally you would be like, oh my God, this guy's going to talk. But actually, she kind of calms him down and gets him focused on talking about at least some stuff that's interesting in a surprisingly adept fashion. And then she laughs at him and flutters with her fan a bit, and then asks, then tries to draw Felix into the conversation as the caravan is going. Do you bite and join in?
Felix or Mittens?
Felix, I think, is up in the front, and Mittens is in the back with the others.
Oh, do I bite? Yeah, I bite.
She calls out and asks you, why are you traveling to the festival? I assume it's for the festival for everyone here. Otherwise, why would you come during this time when all of the travel routes are jammed?
It's a bit of a long story. I suppose I would make it short, but I am. This is a new journey for me in many ways. I grew up a servant my whole life. My parents were servants as well, but I was treated well by the people that we served. I was taught, educated with their children. I was taught how to wield a bow and taught the martial skills necessary to survive. But then I also made beds and served food and whatnot. And eventually my parents died, and I was given the option to leave, but I chose to continue to serve. And then one day I just woke up with this strangest feeling that something horrible was about to happen to my master. And I didn't quite know the way to tell him. I eventually just pulled him aside and explained to him this premonition that I had, and he sort of brushed it off. And I said, well, I really feel strongly about this. And he brushed it off again. And I just left that day thinking, well, I should go clear my head. And wouldn't you know, I came back and everyone was murdered. There was a hobgoblin attack, the likes of which you've never seen, and everyone was wiped out to the last. So equipped with these new oracular powers, I am striking out on my own, and heard about this festival and thought I would check it out. You probably wanted a short story, and I can't help myself because it's all very new to me.
I can listen to Mittens forever.
I'm sorry. Mittens McBride is my name. A pleasure.
Mittens is fucking glorious to listen to.
Yes, well, I'm excited to start anew, and I'm seeing some bad things already, but I'll keep those to myself.
Well, it's so nice to meet you. It's very nice to have you on board. And my gosh, you got such an interesting life story there. I could just listen to that all day. Sorry for all the bad stuff that happened to you, of course, but oh my goodness, what a riveting tale.
Yes, well, everyone I know and love is dead, but I'm excited for the future.
Well, I hope you have a great time at this festival.
Yes.
Vargas, you're not saying much amidst everything that's happening. And then you blink a couple times and you notice something. Along the roof, very small in the corner, there's something that someone's carved in. And this is a new carriage. This is not something that has seen a lot of use.
You're muted.
If I see this, I immediately, no matter what's happening, who's talking, I just immediately stand up to get a closer look to it.
You do? Would you make an Arcana roll?
All righty. A total of 25.
You look at it, you didn't see it before because you looked at this. It seemed to have appeared when the wagon started moving.
Yeah. I want to see if it's just in this corner or if it's like in all four corners. Like, I'm not saying anything. I'm literally just getting up and like looking at it. I'm probably leaning over someone, just like my clothes just draped over the person in front of me as I'm leaning over them, trying to rub my fingers up against the carvings into it to see if it's a carving or if it's an imprint or if it's someone has written something. And then after I do that, I look around and try to see if there's any more.
Sir John, this man is kind of leaning over you, is his robes are in your face now as he's trying to examine like the wall behind you.
Excuse me, get away from the good lady. Do you want me to beat him roundly? I'll say to Lady Bebe. You need me to punish this man.
I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. And he like stands back a little bit, and then he goes, but I just need to, and I lean again to like.
What is your problem? You are looking for a fight. I guarantee you, you do not want it from me. Now back off. Lady Bebe, do you need me to roundly beat him? I will do it for
no, of course not.
Money. It won't cost.
He seems very knowledgeable, and I'm fascinated by what he's doing. She says, and she opens her fan a little bit, and clearly things are getting heated. So she lets a little air.
Is the carving? It's like it's a new carving, but do I recognize it at all? Is it?
You think with that Arcana roll, it's some kind of divination magic, and the rune is fading.
I immediately just like I go, yes. Sorry. I know. I'm in your like personal space, but there's like a spell. Sorry, I know that's really vague, but there's something weird. This is not normal. Like, why would a caravan have divination spells, cast upon it? Like, and I literally point up to Sir John and go, do you see this? Do you know magic? I don't.
As you're doing that, it's fading as if the spell has already cast. And by the time Sir John gets up to examining it, you see nothing but an empty.
I see nothing, fool. There's nothing in this corner or that corner or any corner in between. Now sit down. Stay away from the lady. I'm so sorry, Lady Bebe.
Now, boys, there is no need to be rude to each other. I'm sure we're all just here. I brought some snacks because usually people get like this after a long trip. So just have some lemon bars, boys. It's going to be okay.
I would love a lemon bar. Thank you. Delicious.
I could hand them out too. This is my nature. I can make sure everyone. Would you like a napkin on your lap or something? No, I must get away from that life. I'm sorry. Yes, hand out your own lemon bar.
You're so polite. Thank you for asking.
Oh well, I can't help but be helpful.
I love a napkin. A napkin would be fantastic, Mittens. Thank you.
Ah yes, here you are.
Sorry, they've been in my container for a little bit. It's getting a little crumbly, so I apologize for the crumbs there.
Yes. Well, if any crumbs get on the floor, I'll be sure to eat them right up. That's what we do, us catfolk.
Look forward to being rich someday so I can hire you, Mittens.
Well, I may not be for hire anymore, but I appreciate the sentiment, good sir.
I will be filthy rich someday. Not now.
No, I couldn't help but overhear that you said you saw something on the side of this car.
Yeah. Yes.
Carriage.
Yeah. They're and then I kind of turned to look at Jeannie only, and there was some sort of divination spell that had been cast on the caravan. I'm not quite sure what it was for. I didn't get a quite good enough look at it, and well, there were people in the way, and so I couldn't see. But there's something there.
You suppose that's normal for a thing like this?
Master Knit looks very nervous. Is it a curse? Are we all going to be cursed? I knew I should have not used this particular caravan place. It is new and untested.
What do you mean?
Ask the driver. If you are so worried about it, Vargas, ask the driver.
Hold one moment. What do you mean that this caravan is new and untested? Do you mean like there's nothing special about it? It's just that it's been freshly built, correct?
The company, Master Forbright. He has only been in business for a short amount of time. He has split from his former employee to start his own business, and because he knew that there would be much business for the Festival of Light, I imagine I have to admit, from my accounting days, it is quite true that he starts going off on the accounting of company for a little longer than you would appreciate, but he does give you the gist that this is a company that Master Forbright has recently started this and purchased maybe 4 caravans that he's ferrying people back and forth. And he's cheaper than everyone else because he's trying to undercut them to get some business. And he also runs caravans at night, which you're one of them. Most people don't do that.
I then look at Sir John and go, I think you might be right. Let me talk to and I like, there's like a little shutter to open up, right? To be able to talk to the driver. I open it up and I go, excuse me, sir. Is there any
problem?
No, there'd be no reason why there would be any divination spells upon this vehicle, correct?
What? No,
divination.
I apologize, sir. I could not afford such magics. Is there something that you would need that I could
No, it's nothing that I need. It is something that I've discovered. Someone is I think someone might be tracking this vehicle, trying to figure out where it's going. Keep a good eye out, sir. And then I close it.
You shut them off from
yep.
He looks nervous. He starts looking around. You hear up above him call out to the gnome.
I'm going to go back and sit down and just kind of ponder.
There may be some trouble, so keep your eye out. I always keep my eye out. Well, get that crossbow ready. It's already loaded. Well, be on your best lookout. I already said I was going to. I'm glad you're paying me extra for these night trips. Jeez.
How late is it, Rob?
Like sunset. One of the reasons that you're getting a good deal is because he actually pulled this last wagon out of, it was just repaired today, and he pulled it out in order to get, to fill all the back tickets. Most of you were all waiting to try to get the caravan. And so, and you know that he's the sort of the master of this whole small business. So he's taking it himself in order to accommodate all of it.
Rob, on the trip, I've put a little sack down in the middle of the caravan.
Yeah.
And I've tried to stand in the middle of the caravan, and I've tried to announce myself as Felix, not Felix, and I've tried to attempt to do some very melodramatic monologues from from hit plays, recent plays. I'm trying to see if anyone is interested in throwing some coins in my sack as I perform some very dramatic Sturm und Drang monologues.
All right, does anyone bite on Felix monologues?
You know, I always like to support an artist.
I want to see this performance roll. That's what I want to see.
We've got a bit of a journey ahead of us, perhaps some entertainment.
Wait, before you make the roll, John. What are you doing? Anything in particular to try to evoke their emotions to give you a bonus?
No. I'm actually a terrible performer.
Okay,
I have absolutely no skill in it. I'm awful, but I think I'm very good.
I'm sure you'll do a lovely job as far as I'm concerned. This is the festival. Come early.
Okay, you start saying your lines in somewhat monotone, uninspired.
Rob, if you don't ask your brother to do a monologue right now, you are missing a golden opportunity to embarrass him on the World Wide Web.
Do you want to give us some tidbits of the wisdom and glory of Kile?
All I can say is there are a lot of crocodile tears. There's a lot of like screeching with like a tense throat as I try and get everybody emotional, but it's obvious that all I'm really doing is just pushing and screeching and screaming, trying to get everybody emotional.
Janine, make a charisma check unless you have acting. You're gonna have a hard time.
No, this will be a charisma. Let's see what happens. I got a 16.
John, Janine seems appreciative of your performance.
Well done, young man.
Yes.
I bet your mother is so proud of you. Great job. Ah, my goodness.
Felix takes a deep bow
That's enough. That's enough, Felix. Sit down.
Encore.
No way. This is a long trip as it is between the Vargas stumbling over everyone and stoking the fears, the cat licking the floor of crumbs, and you and your histrionics. This is terrible.
Well, listen, what I say is everybody's got a hobby. Everybody has something they love. There's nothing wrong with giving anybody a little encouragement is all.
Yes, and I think you'll find that the floor is now spotless. So there's
It
that.
really is. You did a great job.
It is quite impressive. It is.
Yes.
The lemon bars are like they never existed.
Yes, leave
So
things the way you found them.
Quite a bit of time has passed while Felix has been offering you his unbridled talent. And Mittens,
Yes.
you get the hair rises on the back of your head,
There's so much of it.
and you have this moment of deja vu where you were sitting in this carriage, and you threw open the window and you just remember seeing a rider in a long red coat. And you just have this moment like you've been here before. And it just does not leave you feeling well. And at that same time, Vargas, like the hairs on the back of your head go up as well. But for you, it's like there is some kind of magic that is used.
I just kind of continuously look around the room, trying to. I'm not abashed of being paranoid, and just continuously looking up and around and at each person. I'm watching their hands to see if they are moving their hands that could be slightly eschewing a spell around the room, and just kind of keeping a close knit eye on everyone.
Are you trained in Arcana, or is it higher?
I am trained in Arcana.
You'll have to make a roll.
Okay. That is a 22.
Something came from outside the carriage, not inside. With that Arcana roll, you know that some divinations, like people might get a feeling that they're being watched, and you think something like that might have been used.
Mm-hmm. I would like to take a Vex off of my shoulder, and I would like to set him. I would like to get up, open the little slat, put Vex out, and then look at everyone and go, "This is going to look a little bit weird. I apologize." And I sit back, and my eyes roll to the back of my head, and my head falls back into the caravan, and I'm sharing senses with my crow Vex. So I can see and hear what Vex can see and hear. And I would like to have Vex fly around and just roll a perception and see if there's anything that he can see from the outside.
The crow hops out of the thing and whips open his wings, and the wind from the whistling carriage that's going on carries him up fairly quickly, more quickly than you're normally used to. And so you're kind of trying to get a sight. It's sunset. The sun is peaked. You can't see it anymore, but there's a deep purple and pink along the horizon as he rises up, and you can see your own caravan going on. And the dwarf, my mistake. The gnome is in the back and has his hand on the big heavy crossbow, and the rider is going. And you notice that they're both kind of keeping an eye out. And as he sees a copse of trees. And on the other side of the copse of trees, where the caravan can't see, there are riders. And it looks like they're following a road that comes to a Y, and it looks like they're on pace to intercept the caravan. There's about 6 of them.
Do they look to be armed?
Yes. Yes, you can see that they have javelins. In fact, some have javelins in hand already. A couple of them have blades out. They'll all look like light blades. And from here, they have cloaks and or long coats, because you can see it kind of flapping in the back, but it's hard for you to see. The crow has pretty good vision, but you're pretty high up at this point.
Yeah.
You have to use an action to kind of move over in that direction. All right. Meanwhile, inside the thing, Vargas kind of, his eyes rolls back, and he He's like obviously in some kind of trance. What are you doing?
What is happening to him? Is he all right? Is he having a seizure or something? What is wrong with him?
I believe he's seeing through his crow's eyes. I don't want to alarm anyone, but I had this momentary, it sounds foolish to even say it aloud, but I had this momentary vision of a red rider alongside of our cart. I'll be interested to see if this Vargas saw something similar in his travels within the crow.
Didn't you just say you had a premonition and everyone died when you came back?
Yes, I did. This is still very new to me, I should say. But
I'll grab my sword and like pull my shield, and I'll say to the lady, baby, sit behind me. I will protect you. Whatever you have to prepare it now. I believe in you, Mittens. I believe that you are on the right path. We must prepare ourselves for battle.
Thank you, Sir John.
Sir Knit, excuse me, my mistake. Master Knit, like, seems panicked and shaky. What's going on? What do you mean all of us died? Is there some problem?
Well, maybe not. But I did see something that just felt all too familiar, like something that hadn't happened yet. And it would be wise if we were just aware of our surroundings and prepared in case the worst happens.
Master Knit Esquire, in a non-helpful fashion, clutches his book even tighter. What are the rest of you doing? Janine?
Well, gosh, I trust these boys. And if I'm so glad that he told me that he gave me a little warning before his eyes slipped back, because I would have gotten really worried. But I trust what they saw. And especially if Sir John is getting ready to fight, then I suppose I'm going to be ready to fight as well.
Felix?
When Mittens says something about, needing to know what's going on, I get jumpy. I want to see if there's a way that I can pull myself out the window and up onto the top of this caravan. I want to get up
Absolutely.
on the
There's there's two things you could do. If you throw open the shutters, you can climb out the window and climb in. Or if you throw the door open, throw the lock and open the door, there's a little ladder that the gnome uses. You think that would be easier, but more obvious. There's also, by the way, a closed, shuttered trap door in the roof, right in the middle.
Oh, I want to do that because I want to make it up there stealthily so that hopefully nobody sees me up there.
Okay, you move down the aisle, which obviously is the whole thing is only 11 feet long, so it's not hard. And you start playing with that, and you're throwing back the two latches. And then Vargas, what is your crow going to do? Is it going to come back, or do you want to get a better look?
Let's get a better look.
So at this point, in order to get a better look, you're going to have the crow fly further down. Right now, there's no chance that these guys or women or whoever the riders are.
Sure.
If you go further down, maybe they'll spot it. I mean, it's a crow and it's twilight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's a small creature, so let's try it. I mean,
okay, you do.
Yeah.
The riders seem intense and don't seem to notice the crow as he comes flying in. You can see that maybe some are women because one has long hair, although it could be a more slender man. They're all in leather coats, look armored. They have gloves. One has out a rapier, and they're now looking through the trees at where they think that the caravan is. And in fact, you can see now that the trees are opening up. You can start seeing it. And the one in the front takes out. The one in the back. So the one in the front takes out and has a javelin, and the one in the back now kind of does this and has a grappling hook.
After that, I would like to have the crow return and release the spell.
It does. It wheels off up above the trees and then is flying. The problem is, what's the crow's movement?
The crow's movement is, I believe it's only 25. Yeah, I can.
So
Sorry, what was that?
As the crow flies.
Yeah.
you have a choice. You can make a constitution check for the crow, or you can make an arcana check to use your own magic to kind of speed it up. So that you catch up, because the caravan is moving fairly.
Sure. Yeah, let me roll an arcana check then, and try to use that. 23.
Nice. You impress upon the crow the danger of the situation. The crow understands, and then it being a supernatural creature, because of its link to you, tries to accelerate as hard as it can, and then dives down and swoops successfully into the caravan with a caw and a cry, a couple of feathers.
As soon as he returns, I come back and I go, I've got some interesting news for everyone. There's some riders. It seems like they're heavily armed and they're going to cut us off at the road.
Felix, make a stealth check while he's explaining this.
Will. Natural 1.
Oh!
I'm like performing. I'm actually good at this.
Not really. Not really.
Felix, you open up the thing a little bit and you look up one way, and the gnome isn't paying attention and doesn't know it. And then you look the other way, and then the rider goes to start opening it, and suddenly the rider kind of ducks. And as you do that, like a big branch is pretty low in the road. And you go, make a dex check. Make a dex saving throw.
Come on, make it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good. That is a 28.
Nice.
You
Nice.
duck down and it misses you, but the door booms open. It makes a big loud bang. It attracts the gnome's attention, and the guy suddenly turns and looks as well. And now the air is whistling in, and they're both looking at it. Hey, what are you doing? Shut that. And because of that, Vargas, you know that they're not paying attention to the road. They're looking at what he's doing.
Good job. Good job, John. Good job.
Mittens, I haven't heard from you in a while. What are you doing? And Janine, are you doing something while this is going on?
I'm just trying to look out through any window or anything just to see how far away these guys are.
Okay. You're gonna have to throw open the shutters.
I guess that's what I'm doing then.
You do. You throw open the shutters and you look out into the twilight sky. It's pretty dim, and let's see. You happen to be on the side that they are, and you're kind of looking. Are you trained in perception at least?
Yes.
It's better.
I am trained.
Then you'll have to make a roll. If it was better, I would just give it to you.
Okay. That is, let's see, what do I, that is a 21.
You see the gleam of moonlight off some kind of blade. And yeah, there are figures now. You can see through a copse of trees that they're getting closer. There's another road, and riders are now riding along, and they're cloaked or have, you can see stuff fluttering by, and one has a sword or something that kind of catches in the moonlight. And now you can see between the trees, all of the deep purples, and the stars are just beginning to appear above you.
Do I get a sense of how many there are?
6.
And how far away exactly?
60 feet now. And they're riding faster than the caravan. And you can hear them up at the top yelling at Felix. So you don't know that they're paying attention or know that these guys, in fact, one is now doing this, and you can definitely see a grapple hook because the roads are quickly converging, and now they're like 40 feet from you.
Okay, well, the guy who has the grappling hook, I am going to, let's see, you said he's 60 feet away.
40 now.
40 now? Okay.
35.
Let's see what I could. All right. If he gets okay, as a feat, I have a thing where it extends the range, the length.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to use Acid Splash to hit the guy before he manages to hurl the grappling hook.
Okay, what kind of form does your magic take as you suddenly burst out into like this magical incant?
Well, you know, I'm a nice lady. It's just gonna, as much as I like to do damage when I can, it's still gonna look like Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
Rainbows with marshmallows. Except for the acidy part. That's gonna be acid.
You get a bright kind of colorful and throw it forth at the person. Is that something that he has to make a saving throw, or do you have to roll to hit?
I have to roll to hit, I believe. Okay, so let me see my spell attack. So that is a dirty 20.
Nice. The color licks out and it goes between the trees, and there's a searing burning on him. Do your damage.
Okay, so that is 3 points of acid damage.
The figure starts, and you definitely saw him have to make a roll. He definitely had to concentrate to not fall off the horse when you hit him. But he does. He seems a skilled rider. A she, actually, now that you see the hair and you think it's a woman, and she does that, looks and yells something like over the running wheels of the wagon. You can't hear, and the wagon is not going very fast.
All right, and I just say, "We got trouble, everyone."
Mittens, what do you do?
Yeah, when Janine says that, Mittens will reach out and say, "I believe you are right, my lady, and I believe our best bet is to take the trouble to them rather than wait. So, would you mind grabbing my hand?" And he extends his hand out to you.
Oh, I'll take it.
Yes, and he just holds it, closes his eyes, and casts Spirit Link with Janine, which will basically, if she takes any damage, Mittens will absorb it.
You do?
Yeah, it basically it forms a spiritual link, allowing me to take its pain. And if you are below your maximum hit points, you regain 2 hit points. Every time, let me see. At the start of each of your turn, if the target you is below maximum HP, you regain 2 HP. And then I lose as many as you regain. So it basically just keeps you fresh, and I take the pain.
Oh, you're so nice.
Yes, well, I just have a bad feeling, and you were so kind to share your lemon squares.
The magic connects the two of you. For a moment, you get like kind of a sense of like almost his dread, because you're linked for a moment, and you can sense that he's seen something bad is going to happen. All right, at this point, why doesn't everyone give me an initiative roll so that I don't start losing everyone and everyone gets equal time?
Nice.
If you would do me a favor, can you type what you got in the chat?
Oh, sure.
It'll be easier than for me to count down.
I'm sorry, what did you say we're using for initiative?
Perception.
Perception. Okay.
Got a nice little 16, little middle of the road 16. A lot of 12s from the
Wow. 12, 13.
Nice. Mittens, you're up. You finished casting the spell kind of pre-battle, and now you can hear hooves. The horses are close enough, you can hear their hooves on the hard packed dirt of the road, and the roads are converging. What are you gonna do?
Would you say my longbow is already drawn, or no? We're kind of like getting into it right now.
I would say you need an action to like string it and get it ready.
Okay, great. I'll use one action to draw my longbow, a second action to get up to the window to lean my head out, and a third action to fire at any rider I can see.
Are you going to recklessly kick the shutter open, or are you going to move to where Janine is?
I'll move to where Janine is, so I don't have to burn another action. kicking that shutter up.
You move over you lean over to Janine crowding. You almost run into Felix, who fell down from the ceiling, and you're going to fire. It's going to be a hard shot because you're firing out of a moving carriage, kind of not in an ideal situation.
Yes, well, I'm feeling lucky. Natty 19.
Nice.
That's going to be a 28 to hit.
You kind of look through the window and fire at what rider you can, and you fire in the middle of the path. The arrow whistles out, goes between two branches, and finds its mark. I assume you're going after the rider and not the horse.
Yes, although I like your idea better now. I'd like to shoot the horse right in the eyes. No, I'll go after the rider.
Okay.
And I lost a D8. Got a D8 down? All right. God, brutal. A 1 on a D8. Let me see what the one on the floor was. 24. No, yeah, just a 1. 1 point of damage.
The arrow kicks out. The figure ducks. It scratches his shoulder, and he steadies the horse and does not fall off the horse.
Of course.
Janine, you're up.
All right. So that same fella that I hit with the acid, was that the same guy that he?
Nope. You're trying to take out the woman with the grapple hook who's in the back.
That's right. The woman with the grappling hook. So with that, I am going to cast Electric Arc.
Yeah.
So because I saw him shoot an arrow, so I'm going to shoot an electric arrow over at that lady.
Okay. Roll the hit or saving throw.
It's roll to hit.
Nice.
And that is a 16.
Oh, nice. There's a bright light for a moment as the trees light up, and you can now see that they're definitely in long coats and leather armor. They look like they have an outlaw look to them. She looks, her eyes open now that there's a bright light of a lightning arc, and it hits her. Do you damage?
That's going to be 10 points of electric damage.
And you did 3. There's a bright zap, and she cries out. You can see that the grapple hook dances with lightning that she's holding, and then she suddenly falls from the horse and probably hits the ground quite hard as she rolls and becomes unmoving as the caravan keeps. The horse dances in panic from the lightning and keeps going. The figures look. One kind of, you think he swears as he looks, but another one kind of does this, and they're now pulling onto the road and not going back.
If I do have a dumb free action, I will use the shrunken elf hand on my mage necklace, and I'll just high five myself.
You do. The first blood is drawn. All right, there's a whole bunch of 12s now. You can see that Felix, Vargas, and Sir John are all trying to scramble for windows all at the same time. We'll start with Sir John. I haven't heard from Matt.
I'll go last.
Okay. Vargas?
I'm gonna try and go to the closest window and try to get a hand out.
you do. You're gonna have to throw open the shutters.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna go up to the first. So I'll spend an action to throw open the shutters.
Yeah.
And then I would like to cast Gust of Wind.
Yeah.
Right in front of them.
Yeah.
Which it's a 60-foot line, and if they run into it, they will have to make a save. And if they fail, they might fall off their horses or worse.
Great. You cast. I don't even think you need a roll for that.
No, it's a save on their part. Yeah.
You can see the leaves on the ground pick up, and all of the trees start going back and forth as if there's a great storm. What's the saving throw DC on that?
It's a fortitude, and it's 19.
Okay. Okay, a couple things happen. The leader seems to get that there's some magic going on, pulls himself and clings instinctively to the horse, and then forces the horse to leap so it reduces its and goes right through the wind. Loses his cloak though. Whoosh, the cloak goes out, and you notice it's not a red cloak. None of them are wearing red coats. They're all in brown leathers. The second guy is caught up in the wind and is ripped off his horse and then goes, ah! And then falls into a gully as the horse whinnies and goes back. You can see the mane getting caught, and it turns around having none of this magic and starts heading in the other direction. The next person has a similar fate and catches, the horse is catching and cantering to the side, and the branch breaks off and hits him in the head, and he goes down. Another woman goes low and rides through and makes it through. And then the last person gets lucky and just clings to the horse desperately as the horse runs through. And so two of them have been dishorsed and they're kind of out of it. They'll take them a while to, if they survive the fall, to sort of get their horses.
Cool. That's my whole turn.
The leader seemed pretty well versed in riding, and you think the other two just got lucky. They like clinged to the horse and rolled on. Felix.
Yeah, my intention is to get as far front of the caravan as possible so that I can leap onto the horse of the lead rider as he gets close.
Okay, so you scramble up as an action onto the roof. And then you move to the edge and then hold your last action until they're close enough?
Yeah.
Okay. You do that. You climb up and make a climb check. Because now you're clinging to the top.
Athletics, acrobatics, yeah. What can I use?
Athletics. You can use acrobatics if that's better for you.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, then you're rolling onto the top rather than kind of clinging on. You're doing like kind of an acrobatic roll through, yeah.
Yeah, 19.
You do. You lively go on. Unfortunately, let me make rolls for them. Oh my God. So a couple things happen. The gnome is like, get back in the caravan, what are you crazy? And the leader is trying to like, sir, please, and is not paying attention at all. Like clearly you have him, any kind of perception check, he rolls a natural 1, and you can see this thing dangerously veering towards the gully. In addition to him not seeing the riders come at all, because he's so flustered that someone has climbed on top of the caravan and now their safety's in danger. The gnome is like, hey, what are you doing? Get back in the thing, and probably will notice the riders soon. And then Sir John, you're up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna scream, watch the road! Watch the road!
Make a persuasion check.
Performance check, it's all that training.
18.
Nice. You ignore your acting instincts to go into screeching mode and calmly say, watch the road. And he goes, and he kind of turns around and then pulls and the thing like goes away from the gully. And you think you might have saved him having to make a check in order to not have this whole thing crash. But now you can see that the riders are close. Sir John.
Rob, it's hard for me to know what's going on, right? I'm in this thing.
Yeah.
People are going everywhere. I have no idea. So are there 2 doors on the back or 1 door?
There's 1 door in the middle on each side.
Okay.
So there is no doors in the back. You're going to pop it open?
Yeah, I'm going to pop open. I don't know which way it is. I'm going to try to listen, but I have a sense that I'll go to the one that I'm close to. I'm going to pop it open and see what's out. So my first action, I'll pop that thing out there.
As you get up, Lady Bibi, who has been waiting patiently, says, just a moment. And she takes a little brush and brushes you off and fixes your collar. And then pinches your cheek and says, you go and get them. And you feel like you're inspired, like you get +1 to hit damage and saving throws.
Does she want to kiss me? Because I feel like she probably wants to kiss me.
No. Maybe on the forehead if you do well.
I kind of lean in to kiss, and we're in a weird place. I regret it.
You can't. It's almost like she knew you were going to do that, but she was already pinching your cheek. And she turns you around and in a fond way kind of moves you in place in order to do your heroics.
Most people want to take advantage of me. So as I'm throwing that door open, I sort of appreciate she likes me just for me. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not just a piece of meat to her. So she is kind of like looking over your shoulder to see what's going on though. Fair enough. I mean,
What are you doing? You throw open the door with your first action, and now the wind is whipping, and you're kind of trying to prevent the door from like hitting you again. And you can see trees going, and now riders on your side, because you're obviously going to the door on the side that everyone is casting out of, are coming close, maybe 15 feet away.
Okay.
There's 3 riders left.
So I pulled my sword like an idiot, thrown open the door after I got the near kiss. I'll now stab my sword in the side of the carriage.
Yeah.
He's gonna regret the fact that he's taking us as his first passengers. And I'll grab my bow and I'll try with my third attack to get a bow shot off.
You do. You stick the sword in the side of the thing, and then
16 plus 1 is 17.
I'm going to say that with the inspiration you got from Lady McStren, that you're able to stick the sword in and pull out your bow in one heroic action, and then take a shot at the end of the round.
Nice. I appreciate that. You're a generous DM. God, 6 damage plus, D6 plus 4, 10 damage.
Well, did you hit? Did
Yes.
you roll hit?
Oh, I thought you said I did hit. Yes, I had a standby 18 with my plus 1.
That was good. You're going in. Which you firing at? The leader with the rapier already drawn, or the other 2?
Yes, the leader. Yes, the leader. If I can assess that, if I can figure out that that's the leader, like in popping this thing open, I would take.
Yeah. He's in the front. And he's almost to the caravan already. In fact,
yeah, I'm taking that one out.
Okay, you fire at him, and due to the way the caravan's going, you try to keep your balance. You heroically fire into the wind, and he cuts the arrow right out of the air with his rapier. You think it was a pretty good shot, but with everything going on, he snapped it and you miss.
So Rob, assuming. So Mittens said something about a red cape. Is that correct? Did Mittens call out the red cape?
Oh yeah, he's told everyone that if you remember correctly, he dramatically told everyone about a long red coat.
And I only see brown coats, right?
Even the leader had.
So I'll cry out. I'll cry out. These are not the ones foretold in the visage. Be prepared. This isn't the end of it. And then as I'm sitting there, and I'll point out to him, I'm coming for you, leader. And as I do that, I'm gonna look at Lady Bebe and see if she notices me trying to be heroic.
She seems appreciative, and she is encouraging to you.
You're a great DM.
Well spoken.
Thank you very much,
Rob. Felix, the leader, is already coming close to the horses of your carriage. If you want to, you can take an action to try to leap onto his horse.
I will. 28 with acrobatics.
Nice.
There it is.
You leap with cat-like form. The rider ducks and looks in awe as you clear over the riding horses and the big wheels that would obviously kill you if you ran over this thing. And you land on the horse of the leader, and he can't even get his sword in the way because he's already used his reaction on Matt's out. And they're up. The leader tries to use some unarmed thing to knock you off the horse, John, but does a poor job at it. You're entangled with him, and he tries to do a back elbow for his first attack, and then tries to get you with this rapier, but because he's at a -5, what's your armor class?
My AC is 20.
He seems skilled, but you're all entangled with him, and he's getting issues and does that. And his last action is used to control the horse. The 2 other guys, one rides up and leaps and tries to get onto the caravan. Oh, with a natural 20. Is on, and then you can see him disappear above you. And then the third one is riding up and just draws a rapier and tries to stab Matt. Yeah, he makes the biggest target. He considers stabbing Janine, but Matt is right there. What's your armor class?
You're mute. You're muted, Matt.
My dog's going crazy. 21, and I welcome the opportunity to be stabbed by this idiot. I'm going to jump on him and destroy his face.
You
21.
take the bow and you knock the sword out of the way. You think that because he's on horseback, it's really hard to hit from this angle, even though actually it's a she. She seems to be a skilled rider. She has a big scar on her face and leather armor, and she has.
Nothing says skilled rider like a big scar on your face.
And all the way back up to Mittens.
But do I get an attack of opportunity? Because I have that.
You do if she moves away suddenly, not if she comes in. She can attack you safely, but you'll get an attack of opportunity if she tries to attack someone else or tries to like pull away from you without taking a disengage. Mittens is up, and then Janine will be right after.
Do something glorious, Mittens.
Mittens is fired up, but Mittens was listening to Sir John, and so he's got his head out the window looking at the riders. He's like, remember that these visions, this whole oracular visions thing is still very new to me. There may not actually be red riders coming. It could have been a symbolic blood riders out for blood. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that vision. Either way, we should probably end this fight. So then he is going to get down to business here and just do. Well, I'll start out with one shot. There's one remaining rider or two remaining riders?
There's three. There's one near the horses that John is on, one that tried to stab Matt, and now one of the horses is taking off pretty well trained because you think the guy jumped on top.
That's the one. Okay. All right. I will shoot the one that just went after Sir John.
Okay.
Let's see what happens here. That's cracked die. 12. Garbage.
It's really hard. You're trying to catch and you can see them fighting. And so you go to another window and that one's barred. You come back and you get a glimpse of them and fire, but the arrow clicks off your own window and goes whistling into the woods.
Sticking your head out the window is more of a dog thing, but let me try another shot. And then he'll fire again. Natural one.
You make a saving throw, make a dex saving throw. You can't get a good angle on him, so you go and kind of push your way past Janine and get your bow out the window so you can do that, and a branch is coming.
Reflex save is 18.
18, and you pull the bow against the thing as the branch goes, and you don't lose the bow.
Oh, thank God. Jeepers. Well, okay, that's brutal. Those are two actions. I've got barely any chance to hit with the third action. So I will just...
is drawing an arrow an action?
I don't believe so. I think...
So an archer can fire 3 times as long as they take the minuses?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'll look that up.
It depends on what type of weapon. If it's just like a normal bow and arrow, yeah, you can shoot 3 times. If it's like a heavy crossbow, then you have to reload.
Yeah. Janine, I'm sorry, you have one more action.
I have one more action. I'm just going to reposition myself. I'm not going to do anything. A flavor action. Oh, this is brutal.
Okay, Janine, you're up.
Did you call that a flavor action?
Yes, just instilling fear in my group. Oh, I don't know if we're going to be able to get out of this one.
I immediately quit.
No, Sir John, we need you most of all in this moment.
I will say this, Janine. Even though he downplayed his vision, you're connected to him and you kind of get glimpses of his dread and you kind of know that whatever he saw, you haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I got that woman's intuition. So the woman that was attacking Sir John is still close by.
Yep.
I'm just going to say, I told you fellas that bumpy roads make me nauseous. And I vomit my acid splash spell at that lady.
I'm going to give you +2 to hit because she does not like that. Right? That is beyond she starts at that when she sees that. That is not.
I rolled a 26.
She looks disgusted and pulls out. Do your damage, and I'm gonna give her a minus.
That's 6 points of acid damage.
the acid washes over her, and not only is it like severely damaging her and starts burning her, but she's so grossed out she rolls a natural 1 on her ride check, and so she climbs up the saddle to do this, and a big branch catches her across the face, and she goes hitting the ground. You think it snapped her neck straight up, and the horse takes off on the side.
I apologize. I have eaten one too many lemon bars.
You have, I think you have 1 action left if you want to do something.
Is it in the spell 2 actions?
It's 2 and you get 3.
I don't know. I don't even think I have any weapons.
Flavor action. Flavor. Throw
Flavor
some
action? I mean, I vomited. Is there anybody else nearby?
You think you can see that Felix is riding with the leader. You're not sure how that happened, but they're definitely struggling, and he's on his horse when the leader can't do anything to your own horses.
I'm just gonna, give a little rah-rah sis rumba over at give him a little encouragement.
Make a perception check.
Okay. Oh no, I rolled a natural 1.
Wow, what is up with the ones?
Okay.
Ice cold.
I
Ice
don't
cold.
know.
Yeah.
I was doing so well.
You're so like you're so concerned about like the aftertaste left in your throat that you're not noticing anything. All
I
right.
just have a little.
The 12s are up.
How many are left? How many are left?
So, you're looking out. There's one that is sharing a horse with Felix unwillingly, and whoever went on the roof. Make a perception check.
All right. Okay, that was the most useless natural 20.
Okay, so with that, you notice something. You definitely heard the gnome's crossbow go off. In fact, you even hear the whistling and see the bolt, having missed, go off into the woods. And then under the rumbling, you hear the gnome cry out in pain.
So I believe that the gnome is probably hurt. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna cast on the rider that is with Felix, not Felix, Felix. I'm going to first action. I'm going to cast Elemental Betrayal, and then I'm going to cast Electric Arc on top of that. So they have to make a reflex save.
The reflex save is, what's the DC?
19.
He's pretty fast, but not that fast. So he misses the save.
Okay, so he's going to take 1d4 plus 4, and then because of the elemental betrayal, he's going to take an additional 6. So it's going to be 6 plus 1d4. A 4. So he's going to take a total of 10 damage.
2 questions. What kind of damage is it? And what type of casting style do you do?
Okay, so it's a electric arc. So I've literally, similar to how I pushed out wind, I single-handedly like put out, and it's almost like a force lightning from Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know, this hand of electricity comes out and it hits him, and then if there is an enemy within 30 feet, it will then arc to the second person.
Does that other person have to be in line of sight?
It does not say. It just specifically says 1 or 2 targets. An arc of electricity leaps from one target to another. You can deal electricity damage equal to 1d4 plus your spellcasting ability modifier.
Okay, you know that there's someone above you. Let's see if you have the arcane knowledge in order to arc it up on top of the thing.
So I rolled a 12, which makes it a 21.
That's plenty. So you know that there's someone up there. You concentrate, and the lightning dances out. The whole part of the cart gets lit up, and the arc then lights back up onto the top. You can see that the rider is trying to ride with one hand and is taking a whip off of his belt, in the front, and the whole road is lit up. Do damage on the second character.
So if they have to make a reflex save, and if they fail, it's a 6.
There's a scream, there's a zap, And then all of a sudden you see there's a bright light above you. Someone slips, catches the wagon for a second, and then falls under the wheel of the wagon. You hear a terrible bone crunching as the character on the top falls off of the wagon and gets pulled under the wheels.
I hope that wasn't the gnome.
It does not appear. It was a larger figure than the gnome.
That's my turn.
Felix, you're up.
Yes. On one side of my face, the tattoo of the smiling theater mask, like glistens as I'm thrilled that I made the leap onto this horse.
Yeah.
And then as I draw my dagger, the other tattoo glistens a little bit as I stab the rider several times.
Okay.
And I scream out, "It's Felix!" So is drawing the dagger an action?
I believe.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you have quick
All right.
draw.
So my first attack is a 23.
Since you're using such a short weapon and he's trying to use a rapier, you are getting a bonus.
Oh, nice.
Hits.
Okay.
I mean, you're grappling.
Yeah. Ooh, take full. Take 8 damage.
Oh, you stab him, and he does not like that.
I'll
You
stab
feel the
him.
dagger go into the shoulder and do a nasty wound.
I'll stab again.
Yeah.
And this one's at minus, so 17.
With the bonus, because you're entangled with him, I'm going to call that a hit.
Okay, I'll take it. Take 7 damage.
You think a lesser bandit would have been just killed, but the way he twists, you got some armor, you didn't dig in this deep, you know what I mean? He's still out.
Okay.
And Sir John.
Do you want me? You don't need me to make any kind of check to make sure I can hold on, right? I'm on there.
The horse hasn't done anything that isn't a steady ride.
Okay, thank
Oh,
you.
let me ask you this: do you have at least training in riding?
Riding's not a skill. I think it'd be nature.
Nature,
Oh.
survival, nature.
Yes, survival. I'm trained.
Okay, I'll let you do that. Since you're trained in that, you're okay because he's not causing the horse to do anything unusual. So there's no need to make a roll. Sir John?
Yeah, Rob. What outside of my window? What do I see? I mean, I see Felix. I refuse to call him anything else other than Felix because we've been around for 6 years. So I see little Felix on the back of the horse, but there's no other rider there, right?
Correct. In fact, now you saw the lightning lick out, hit the rider, and then go up above you when you saw that guy fall down.
Right.
That was pretty clear because you're standing in the doorway.
So I'm gonna reach under and I'll pull myself up onto the top of this rolling carriage.
I'll let that be acrobatics or athletics, whichever is better.
I am an expert in athletics.
Okay.
13, so I get 20,
No problem.
24. I kind of look at Lady Bebe. I'll say, "Don't worry, I'll be back," and I'll fly up to the top. That's my action there. What do I see around me? I still have my bow.
Okay.
I left my sword behind.
There's only one rider. The guy up here, you see some lightning still dancing on the roof where he got hit. The gnome is wounded and is pulling out some bandages because the guy stabbed him. Before he fired at the guy and missed, you think, and the guy stabbed him. You can see the rider now is putting his whip down. He hooks it on a hook on the side and is now trying to get the horses, but he doesn't know what to do because he sees one of his people on the leader's horse. So he's kind of like keeping it steady. He doesn't want to pull away from the leader so that one of his passengers falls off, but he doesn't know what to do. He kind of looks at you and says, "Get him back on."
He's doing work. Keep the thing steady. On your eyes on the road, you idiot. Looking around.
He looks back at you unwisely and says, he paid for his ticket like everyone else. I'll get him to Epsilon.
Part of the arrangement is to get us there safely, you fool. Just keep driving. Rob, and I'm going to take a scan around. I don't see any red coat or anything, right? And if I don't, I'll curse to Mittens. I'll curse Mittens under my breath.
Make a perception check.
Oh, that's what I like, Rob. Perception is... Oh, I rolled a 17, but I don't see perception. Does that mean I don't have the skill?
It should be on there. 17 is fine. As you look, the purple is turned into almost like a deep blue, but there is a full moon. And as the moon rises up on a ridge now, you see more horsemen.
Oh, good. Okay.
Pretty far ahead.
So I'll say, horsemen on the ridge. Prepare whatever you have, Mittens. Your premonitions are on point. And with that, they're too far away. I can't do anything. So I'm going to take a very suspect shot for my third action to the rider that Felix is riding with.
Felix is between you and him. So it's going to be a hard shot. If you screw up, there's a good chance of you hitting him.
So Rob, I want you to know, I know this is a very suspect shot. I know that a better man wouldn't take it, but I kind of like the idea of punishing poor actors.
Okay.
Something inside me, in my very nature, really wants to make. I'm doing my best, but I kind of hope I miss.
That's self-hatred.
Who?
Mittens, inside the coach, you hear Lady Bebe says, "Oh, John."
I rolled a 3. My short bow's a 9 plus 1, so 13.
You fire the arrow, and Mittens, you notice something. The arrow zooms towards them. Lady Bebe is kind of like looking, and she gestures with her fan, and it kind of kicks off and doesn't hit Felix, but it bounces off the armor of the leader and kind of goes off into the distance. They're up.
Rob, let's take a break. It's about time to do a little bit of an intermission.
Sure.
And then when we come back, we can have them go up. Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Bio break.
How long do you want to take?
Stick around, everybody. We're going to be back in just a few minutes. So hang in there for about 5 minutes. We'll be right back.
Wait, Justice, are you doing like a little thing on the Chronicles? I thought we were doing the commercial for the Chronicles.
Oh, there's a strong possibility that a commercial is about to air.
Okay.
Unless I screwed something up.
No, don't screw it up.
Go take your break.
All right, bye.
Hi, my name is Matthew Lillard. You've probably seen me in many horrible movie back in the 90s. Can we start again? It's me, Matt! Hi, I'm major motion picture star Matthew Lillard. Hi. All right, Sam. I'm Matthew Lillard. What's the line? You just do whatever the fuck. I almost had it. I got booger on my shirt. What's the first line? I was in terrible movies during the 90s. You grew up on them and you watched them, sucker. My name is Matthew Lillard. You may know me as Beadle from Beadle and Grimm's. Last couple of years, our company is focused primarily on the DM, creating battle maps, in-world handouts, jewelry items, and of course, stuffed animals. Now it's time to focus on you, the players. Because when we gather around a table, we're not there to hear a story, we're there to tell a story. All of us. And sometimes that story goes on for years and is remembered only on coffee-stained scraps of paper or 3 random journals. But worst of all, it's in your head. And why is that bad? Because I'm not that smart. Bill's way smarter than me. When he says it's Grimm that killed the frost giant that was on its way to destroy the town, I can't really argue with him because I don't have it on a journal. And if I had it in a journal, sitting on a bookshelf, You could just say, hey, check out my journal. We all know the problem with a journal in a real game. When are you gonna use that thing? On a real night of gaming, you bounce from a core rule book to the advanced player's guide, and of course your character sheet. And the entire game goes like boom, to boom, to boom, to boom, to boom, 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 boom. You never go back to this thing. And again, the story is only in your brain, and Bill's telling you that he is the real champion. But what if? Now stay with me here. What if, Charlie? Charlie, thanks. What if we created a single book specifically tailored for your character class? And what if it had an enormous character sheet to record every detail of your character? Every stat, every strength, weakness, magic item, enemy, ally, even your familiar. And then took all the official Pathfinder rules, the spells, feats, and skills that you need for your class and your class only, and combined that with an expansive journal to capture your story. And obviously, it's only useful if it's on heavy paper to handle the years of wear and tear, and bound on a lay-flat binding so you can use every inch of it. And of course, us being us, we add amazing artwork from across the Pathfinder universe, as well as our own custom pieces, commissioned specifically for this book. And that's why I'm here today, to introduce you to Beadle and Grimm's complete character chronicle. Character sheet, rulebook, journal, all in one. The tools to tell your story and the pages to preserve it. If my story had been included in one of these, I'm pretty sure that Beadle, the greatest dungeon delver ever, would have been the true hero of the group. Not Bodum, not Tanner, and definitely not Grimm. Because it all would have been written down, the incontestable truth. Or at least, a well-documented lie. Which is just as good. I'm Matthew Lillard, and we are Beadle and Grimm.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking around for the second half of the Pathfinder 2E streaming to celebrate our Character Chronicle Kickstarter. And last weekend, I think when last we met, the bad guys, the villains, were about to go and slaughter us all. So go ahead, Rob.
All right, so right now, Sir John is on the top, looking around, and has noticed something on the ridge in the moonlight. We have Felix on the horse with a experienced rider, thief, bandit of some sort, and then the rest of the people are in the cart itself. All right, the bandit leaps the horse and then rides up in the saddle and tries to attack you. What's your armor class?
Is that me?
Yes.
20.
He hits you with the rapier for 8 damage.
Okay.
And then leaps the horse up so that both of you have to make a ride check to stay on.
Boy. Oh, nice. Natty 19.
Nice.
So if I can use an athletics to hold on,
Sure.
That'd be a 26.
Okay. You're using athletics to hold on to him or the horse?
I'm holding on to him. I've got him and like trying to stab as we go.
You're holding on to him and he blows his ride check and both of you start falling to the side. Make a grab check.
Make a what check?
You're making a roll to hit against the horse to try to hold on.
To see if I can let go of him and grab onto the horse.
Okay.
Not good. Not good. 6 with Dex if it's like a dex thing, it would be like a 10. Yeah, not good.
Okay. The horse rears up. You start pitching off the edge with the leader. He's grabbing onto the reins and holding on, and you're starting to fall off as well. Lady BB gasps. You can see the other people looking at you spilling out.
I'll scream to the driver, keep going! We don't need him!
Oh, the driver. When you scream to the driver, he catches up, sees what's going on. I'm sorry about this. And goes, with his whip around John's arm. Oh, take 2 damage. And he's pulling you and trying to hold you from falling off as the leader of as that experienced rider slips and goes, oh, and hits and bounces. Rolling and then coming up to his feet, but he looks really hurt, a big cloud of dust behind you. And now you're kind of holding onto the horse, and only the whip is holding you up. Mittens, what are you going to do?
Oh, Mittens. Who's within 5 feet of me? Or if I were to move, who would be within 5 feet of me? If I want to try and get as many people as possible.
Well, everybody in the wagon is definitely, if you want to do like a buff spell of some kind, everyone in the wagon has to be within 5 feet. It's only like 12 feet long and maybe 9 feet wide. I mean, it's a big carriage, but not that big.
All right. And even if Sir John's on the roof, is he covered in that as well?
Yeah.
5 feet that way. All right. So first thing Mittens will do is he'll kind of go to one knee symbolically, not as an actual action, and pray to Gorham. Oh, please bless my companions, and cast bless on the group, which mechanically will give you all some, you get a +1 bonus to attack rolls. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So that's 2 actions to do that. Everybody gets a +1.
Yeah.
And then with my second action, I will fire out the window at the nearest rider.
There's none left. The rider on John's horse fell off. You can see that Felix is now basically hanging on by a thread, and that thread is actually the whip of the rider around his arm. But the rider is clearly losing control, and John's about to go under the wheels.
Oh boy. I fire at Felix. No. Okay. I feel like there's nothing we can really do here. We need to stop this coach. I feel like we're better off just stopping and assessing. But I don't have that power. So I'm just gonna do nothing on my next action, but maybe look around and be like, should we stop this coach? This just seems like madness, trying to fight while moving. We're just making the battle all the more difficult.
You're saying that. Clearly, unfortunately, the driver can't hear you inside and is kind of busy both holding the rein and unfortunately, he's a righty, so he's holding his whip over the reins, trying to keep control. Which brings up did I skip someone? No, the 12s, right? That was...
I had a 13.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's right. Yes, Janine, you're up.
I cannot let that poor young man be dragged through the mud through that thing. So I'm going to run towards the driver.
Yeah.
I would like to try to grapple my way to get reins of the horse.
Okay, so here's your option. Sir John has left the door open. So you run to the door. Now you can try to climb on top of the carriage and move along it to get to the reins. Or you can see that the horse is now slowing down and Felix is probably going to go past the doorway pretty soon with the whip still attached. Maybe even if you reached out in range to grab him.
Okay, that's what I'll do then.
You can either make an athletics check to do an athletics grab or a roll to hit. Like a grapple check, I'll let you do that too.
Okay, because my athletics is not very high, I'll admit.
Or are you doing some spell? How are you helping him?
Well, I don't think I have any spell that can particularly help me grab onto him. But if I can make a roll that's not an athletics roll, like the other, if I could do an acrobatics or...
Oh, acrobatics, sure.
Okay.
If you want to do that, I'll give that to you.
Okay, so I rolled a 23 with that.
Wow. I was like, all right, acrobatics will be a little harder than athletics, but you go out like a dancer. You go and lean out and reach over the horse, kind of arcing your back, and you grab him by the collar and pulling him up. And that with the help of the whip, you don't really use strength. Instead, you finesse him up over the horse. So the horse is kind of naturally pulled towards the carriage. And even though it's slowing down, you're giving them a chance to survive until he can make a roll to grab it.
I can make a roll to grab onto him?
No, you have him. Unless you bring
him.
something else, you are now giving him an opportunity to grab onto the carriage and let go of the horse. Without it, you think that if nothing was done by the time he came up, he would have gone underneath or fallen.
Okay, but there's no chance of like trying to pull him up.
Do you want to make a second effort with your other action to try to do that? That's going to be tough because it's going to be a strength roll.
You know what? I am admittedly not very strong. I am agile because of the 2 years of tap, 1 year of jazz, and 2 years of ballet. But the other ones, no, I'm not gonna. Right. I will hold on so that he can make his way up maybe on his turn.
Okay. 12s. Let's go right to Felix.
I will say, thank you, Janine. Thank you. That fall hurt more than my latest review from the Village Voice. And I'll try and pull myself in the window of the caravan to try and pull myself to safety.
She's reached out the door, so that's an even easier roll. And you have an aid another because you used all her actions to help you.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you make a roll, and if you have a disastrous failure, I'll let her make a roll for you.
No, very good roll.
Oh, good. She pulls you up, and you come over the horse and catch on the wagon, and the horse goes, and finally, like without the reins, goes and takes off. And you kind of look, by the way, and the guy is like doing this, and you see like you're pulling ahead.
Are we still being followed?
There's no riders that you know of, except that you heard you heard Sir John up above yelling about this isn't over yet, if you recall correctly.
Yeah, okay.
Do you take any other actions?
I mean, I'm trying to look behind us because I'm assuming something's behind us. But if I don't see anything, then no.
No, you see him disappear in the dust and darkness, and nothing from this side of the carriage.
I'll ready my short bow.
You pull in, take your short bow, and use the rest of your actions to get it ready.
If I could have a dumb flavor action, I'll say, "Oh, you poor thing," and I'll rub the dust off of the smiley face and the frowny face.
Yeah. Is that some kind of spell?
No, just he's dirty. He's all dusty from the tumble he took.
Lady BB approves. Well done. Yes. Keep him looking good, she says. You never know who's watching. That will be Vargas. Do you want to go first, or do you want to give it to Sir John?
Well, has anyone been hurt?
Remarkably, no. The gnome, you think? You heard the gnome cry out in pain.
But he's up top, right?
He's up top, correct.
Okay. I'll go first. I'm just gonna walk over to Jeannie, and I'm going to reach into my side pouch, and I'm gonna pull out some small green leaves and hand it to her, and I go, just chew on it. It will help with, since you threw up, it's mint leaf. It will make your breath. And anyways.
Thank you so much. I've been talking this whole time. Oh, thank you so. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Pardon me, but thank you.
Yeah. No.
The crow also takes one of these. Picks one of them off as kind of like it's done good work today, and it deserves a treat. And it kind of gives you the side-eye, COVID-eye look that you haven't given me any treat, and I warned you about this. We'll talk about this later.
I'll
look at Vex and be like, you got grubs before all of this started, so don't start with me. I'll try to make my way up to the top I don't want to like stand up there, but I want to like sit on the edge. And I want to see how badly the gnome is. And I would like to use battle medicine, which is a single action.
Sure. You climb up. The nice thing is because Felix already opened up the hatch, you can climb up as just a simple action up the middle. Now, it won't look as impressive as Sir John's like athletics roll up out of the roof.
I'm okay with it.
You know,
I'm okay with it.
not everyone can look as good as Sir John. Let's just say that.
Look, I gotta let others shine. You know, I gotta let Sir John look good. I can clearly tell he's going after BB. You know.
So yeah. You don't think that there's anything going on there?
No. I don't think BB is coming. I don't think there is a reciprocation. I see my boy making an attempt, and I'm not gonna outshine him on anything. I'm gonna let him do his thing, you know?
Right. You're climbing up before you make your roll. Since Sir John's at the exact same time, I want to see what he's doing because you would see that as he's coming up. Sir John, What are you doing?
I'll say to you, Vargas, what are you doing? What's your intention?
Well, I think the gnome up top might be a little bit hurt.
If you can help him, come. And I'll offer my arm to pull him up.
Yeah,
your instinct is good, he says, leading on the roof.
I'll tell him, perhaps you let me run the it's a crossbow, right, Rob?
Yeah, it's a big, heavy crossbow.
We are not done. Make no mistake.
Okay, a couple things you notice. You can definitely take the heavy crossbow, and it's polished wood with brass fittings, but also there's a U-shaped mounting that swivels. And so you can put the crossbow on it and fire at people without taking minuses from shooting from the rocky kind of
Okay. It still takes it takes an action to reload?
It does. Okay.
Well, it's better that he has the ability to continue to shoot while I'm on my own bow. So I'll say to everyone, we must prepare. We are not out of the woods. The red cape is back. It's not really my strength because I'm really interested in talking about me. So whatever it is, I probably don't notice. So I don't see perception. So 9 plus what?
Wisdom.
All right, so 9.
Okay.
Are you trained in it? Because if you're trained, which I believe all classes are trained, it's a minimum of your level plus your train. So you should have at least 5.
Okay, yeah, 14.
It should be up at the top of right at the top of your sheet.
It's over by your hit points.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. So 16.
Nice. You do that. You look back up on the ridge. You're not the most perceptive person, but now you see one rider there. The rest have gone forward, and the rider looks in your direction with obviously a wide brim hat silhouetted by the moon, and then goes and then cuts down, and a big scarf goes behind as he leaps off on this horse and disappears out of the moonlight.
I'll say to everyone, is it better served that we we find a place on this road to pull over and attack hand to hand? Melee is my specialty. Riding on the back of a wagon, shooting arrows into oblivion is ridiculous. We have no chance.
That is wise, Sir John. I think it is the only way. That way we have an attempt at preparing ourselves.
Mittens, you are
I really wanted to go to the festival, though.
We're going to make it to the festival. If we continue on this road, it just seems like a horrible idea. Do you agree, Felix?
Felix does agree that we could use the cover of the woods and perhaps circle our enemy.
All right. I'll say to the rider, Rob, I'll say to the rider, find a place to pull over. We need to make our stand on the road standing still.
You're going to have to make a convincing roll. Do you have persuasion or leadership?
I mean, in my heart of hearts, I do, because I feel like I'm...
Intimidate this guy.
Intimidate?
I am trained in intimidation.
Make a roll.
Diplomacy. I'm trying to just figure out the best way to go. Okay.
Because his instinct is definitely to make a run for it.
16, Rob. With a 5, it's 21.
His eyes open and looks at you like shocked and says, are you sure?
It's the best way, hand to hand. It makes no sense to continue to roll at egregious speeds through the countryside. Find a place that we can hide and take shelter. Protect ourselves.
There's a ruined inn that burnt down. It's a minute up the road. He looked at a certain time. Do you want to do that, or do you want to pull over and try to use the carriage as cover?
In my instinct, I will say a minute away. I have a sense that they were traveling. Can I make a perception check? I don't know how far back they are.
You're considering. Meanwhile, Vargas gets on the top, and you can take your action.
Okay, so
discussion's going on.
So I already rolled, and I succeeded my DC 15 to make a heal check. So I heal him for 12 points of damage.
Nice. With your battle medicine, you think that pretty much patches his wound up entirely. Let me see. You can hear, all of you hear Sir John's discussion with the driver, and can now, we're kind of splitting out from combat as the carriage is going on. Nothing new is coming on. Does anyone say anything, or what are you doing?
Real quick, Rob, 2 things. The plus that Troy and the Mittens gave, is that stack with Madame Bebe's?
It does.
Nice. And then the other question I have is my perception check of how far back they were. Do I feel like we can make it there in a minute and get off to make our stand?
It's going to be close. Because they're actually were ahead of you, but they're on a big ridge. They're definitely probably riding down the ridge to intercept you. Now, what might happen is you actually might reach there before they would have intercepted you, and they're going to have to come down the road hunting you. And you'll have time to run into the inn if that's your plan.
Okay, great. Let's do that. I'll say with I have no confidence at all. Everything about me is bull crap. So it's all bluster. I am terrified beyond belief, but I'll say it as convincing as I can. That is our plan. This is the only way to succeed. With this, we will find tomorrow's morning.
Somewhere a figure rides, concentrates for a second. You see that Master Knit suddenly goes to the other side of the carriage, kind of slides next to his window and said, "Did you hear that? Something's moving." And Janine and Mittens look at each other, and as you're riding, we're back to where we started.
Nice.
Oh dear.
Well done, Rob.
Did you hear that?
Well, I heard something.
No, they were on the top, but I thought I heard movement in the back with the luggage. And you know that there's a back rack under where the gnome sits that he was putting on the luggage. Some was on the top, but a lot of that was there.
And are we still moving at this point, or have we stopped?
You haven't stopped.
Okay, well, you know what? All the lemon bars are gone at this point, so I'm not really nauseous. I can probably go see what's going on.
What? He looks at you. No, I'm saying that we should keep the window shut in case there's something.
Fine. Okay, if we're doing what Sir John says, and if we're headed on our way to the inn, but if anybody tries to break through, I gotta tell you, I'm not gonna be so nice anymore. I gotta protect everybody else in this carriage.
When you say you're not going to be nice, his eyes widen. He's a little intimidated after having seen you vomit a rider off a horse. You know, he's yeah. Oh,
I mean, I'll always be polite, but I can't tell you I'm going to be very nice about it.
He does not like your magic. Mittens, you hear something weird. Like the whole back of the thing shakes in a way that is not induced, because now things are kind of like you're bumping because the rider goes, yeah, and it's trying to get to the inn before the riders, but there is definitely something bumping against the back wall.
How far are we to the inn? Do I have a sense of that?
You have no idea. You hear Sir John yelling that, and you heard everything them yelling because when the action slowed down, you could hear him, and you could hear him talk to the rider. Maybe a minute.
Maybe a minute. I am tempted to just jump out of this wagon.
Oh, geez.
And it sounds exciting, so I'm going to do it. But I'll say, everyone, you stay here. I feel as if I can be more help on the ground. I will see you at the inn. And I open the door and launch myself out. And
never separate the part. Oh.
No, it'll be all right.
Mittens, you open the door, and as you do, you open it on your side, not the side that was already open. And there it is. You start hearing riders, and all of a sudden something rears up between the trees, and that's it. You know that's it. The person rides up and kind of the long coat goes and the wide brim hat, and that was your vision. And you can see that they're riding past, and there's like old lanterns lighting the way to the inn, and he kind of pulls up past the inn, and you see that the coat is definitely red, and so is the hat, and there's something weird about his face.
Weird how? A little perception?
Yeah, I think that will require a little perception.
A little perception-y? 7.
Yeah.
It's dark.
It did not look right. And then he disappeared into the darkness.
So I'm about to launch myself out, and I see my vision come to life, and I stop myself, and I turn and I say, it's the Red Rider. Let me abort this plan. And I shut the door.
Oh God, says Master Knit. And then Lady Beavy says, hush now. We have enough problems without you soiling your knickers. All right, what are you going to do? You're riding towards the inn, and now you can hear the riders coming. They're trying to intercept you. You look, Sir John, you think that at this pace, you can get to the inn and stop and maybe either fight from the wagon or from the ruined inn, or you can continue going and try to fight them off while you're riding.
No, we are going to get to the inn, and we are going to make our stand at the inn, whether it's on the wagon or from the inn. Going 60 miles an hour is not the way I want to end up dying.
Oh, okay, yes. But just as long as we still have that wagon at the end of the battle, so that we can still make it over to the festival. Because I'm going to be very, very sad if I don't get to that.
Secondarily important. Right now, living is the number one concern.
Yeah, I know, but still the festival.
The party will go on with us or without us. We need to make sure we get to the party. But we'll make our way to the inn, Rob. And so I'm on top. Do I see what Mitten saw? Do I see this Red Rider?
You're looking now, and you can definitely hear the riders moving through the trees. But you were kind of busy pontificating in order to see that actual scene. Vargas, you get hairs on the back of your head go up, and there's some magic nearby. And as you're looking, are you trained in perception? Or do you have better than that?
I'm trained in perception, but I have a skill feat, which is trained in secrets, schooled in secrets, and I'm trained in occult magic as well. So
okay, since you have that training, I'm not going to make you make a roll. The hairs on the back of your head go, and you look, and then you're wondering why there's some evil, and you look and you kind of lean over, and you see all the luggage. And amongst the luggage, there's one trunk that you don't recognize anyone having carried on. And the thing kind of shimmers and then begins to change into a creature. This weird kind of half-winged creature that looks vaguely demonic to you.
Can I take an action?
You can.
Yeah.
Why don't we roll initiative?
Okay.
Oh,
geez.
That sounds right.
11. I'll put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat. And you can see now the inn coming up. The rider's like, shh, shh, shh. They're coming.
How do I roll 12? Both initiatives.
A lot of 12s in an initiative. All right. Mittens, you having a vague sense of what's going to happen, having deja vu of like waiting at the window of a ruined inn while figures move past, you kind of have an idea and you go first. What's up? What are you going to do?
All right. Has it been a minute? The only reason I'm asking is Bless would have expired.
Yes.
Okay. So sorry, but my Bless spell has expired. Thankfully, my spirit link is still active with you, Janine, for that last 10 minutes. Oh, God, I want to get on the ground. I feel so useless here on this moving wagon.
Well, you can see out, like the inn is coming up rapidly. The guy is already pulling the horses to the side, and you hear hoof beats, but they're still in the distance.
Right. All right, I am going to hold my action then. I want to wait until we're at the end. Yeah. I'm gonna delay.
14, Janine.
So what I'm seeing is this weird thing that's turning into a creature.
You haven't even seen it yet. It's happening out the back. But you do know that something was banging. And all of a sudden it changes, and instead of banging, you hear a creepy scratching that indicates something weird is happening back there.
Can I, it's within 30 feet because it's within our thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Can I do a detect magic?
You can. You'd use an action, and there's definitely magic there. There's something magical on the other side of that. You think a spell might have activated it or sent a message, and you also get a low-lying magic of a creature that seems to be transformative, like a transmutation.
Listen, I don't mean to alarm all of you, but there seems to be this magical creature that's changing on this outside of right here, with not within our sight right now. So we might want to, get ready to fight whatever it is that's gonna turn into.
You warn the party, and what do you want to do for your last action? You see the inn coming up too.
Can I, is readying a spell? Is it still 2 actions if I ready it? Okay.
I see. You're trying to use an action to ready it so you can cast 1 action next turn. I don't think you can split a spell between two actions. I think if I use that precedent, it would get abused horribly. At the beginning of every combat. So I think I'm gonna.
Okay.
Ready is 2 actions. It's its own action in Pathfinder Second. I'm just reading the thing now. Ready costs you 2 actions, so you can prepare an action that can occur outside your turn. But if the action itself then takes 2 actions, you wouldn't be able to ready that action, I think.
All right. So instead of that, then can I just make a perception check, see whatever, anything else?
You can lean out and look to see what's there.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
You do. You lean out, use your action to look, and you see some creature that's clinging to the luggage, and it looks like almost like a half man, half bat thing.
It's like that Twilight Zone episode.
That are attached to its hands, and as you see the last of it in that, like, even though it looks like a terrible, almost like a demonic creature now, you saw it like changing. You saw the last of it changing. Like it looked like something else before, but you caught it too late to see what it looked like before.
Oh, geez, there's something on the side of the cart.
That is down to 12. Vargas.
I immediately push my hands together and push out, and I'm casting hydraulic push.
Yeah.
which is an attack. Does a 26 hit?
Yeah, I was even giving you pluses because like your application of the spell in this kind and the thing is kind of still getting its bearings after changing from a trunk, slams into it easily.
So if it's just a success, it is 3d6 bludgeoning damage and it gets knocked back 5 feet. If it was a
I'm going to
critical,
call it a crit because I gave you a good plus because, you know, I mean, obviously a push spell right now is perfect with this thing running.
so I will take that 3d6 and being knocked back 10 feet. 12, 18, 21, 25 points of damage, and it is knocked back 10 feet.
Did you just yeet my surprise attack? You go, oh. And because you had like the perfect spell at that time, you go, get a thing goes, ah, boom, and you see it go launched off, taking terrible damage, hitting the ground as the wagon is now pulling up to the end. It kind of gets up, half broken. You think that it's barely standing on its last legs. This thing is tough, but it like starts kind of, it looks like it's going to run, and then shakes its head as if some spell crosses it and starts limping towards the end towards you, as if it's compelled in some way.
So as my third action, I'm just going to say, whatever that was, it's not done. Let's get inside.
You do. And the 30 minutes, and the thing pulls into the inn. Oh, the horses are like neighing and the gnome's like, oh God, what are we doing? And he's like trying to swing around the crossbow. Are we abandoning ship, sir? What do you wish to do?
I think I'm next, right? I think it's my next action. So I will, I have my bow. Is that right, Rob? Is it me? I have my bow, and I'm going to try to fit a coup de grace this creature that's limping along in the darkness. Oh, 23.
Wow, you run to the edge, and it's far away because the wagon had continued, and you're like, and the arrow goes, and you have to arc it. It goes, and the thing kind of looks up, kind of not expecting that. Come on, out of the darkness, your arrow strikes. Do your damage.
Oh, 9 damage.
You go, hold your arm back, and you just stand there.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Like one of the great gods, as your arrow goes arcing towards the thing, and you hear clunk as it goes down. And you just pose for a moment.
So, in this moment, Rob, in this quietness of this moment, I am like terrified.
Yeah.
He is like, I've never seen anything like that before because I'm on top. I've seen this creature. It's something he's never seen before. There's not a moment that he knows what to do. The driver's saying, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And everyone's looking at him and he's terrified. All he does is he kind of throws a Hail Mary. And as he literally starts to like almost cry as the arrow's in the air. But when I see it find purchase, it brings a power to passion to me. And I with my strongest voice, trying not to quiver, we make our stand in the inn. And I'll take an athletics check. I will roll back down because I left my sword in the side of the thing.
Right.
So I'll go back through, grab and get to the ground, go under the wagon and make my way into the inn.
You do. In a smooth action, you use the rest of your actions to do that. You're so inspired by having struck the thing with the arrow, which was, by the way, a long shot, that you do that without even having to roll.
I appreciate your generosity, Game Master, and I want you to know that I am still terrified.
Even Master Nick seems like compelled to like start getting his things. He grabs his book and he runs into the inn. Come along, dear, says Lady Beebe with her young charge. Is anybody not going into the inn?
Hold on, Rob. it's my action, and I want to do something in that regard.
Good, do it.
So I saw Mittens open up the door while we were riding. He was about to make this dramatic stage exit. He sees something, slams the door, and says something about a red rider. I am totally freaked out.
Yeah.
I have this feat where I can called Quiet Allies.
Yeah.
Where I can have like all of my allies on my stealth check. Like maybe I'm gonna ask if anybody in the carriage wants to follow me to sneak into the tavern so that the enemies don't know that we've left.
Oh, first of all, Master Knit is so there. He's practically clinging to your leg. Lady Bibi takes her charge and readily agrees. Who else is going to go and use Felix's stealth?
Oh, well, I would rather just kind of try to go in quietly rather than make a big ruckus.
You do?
Yeah, and I'd like to go as well, and then I'll take my action after Felix. I'll move into the initiative order after Felix, now that we're here.
Vargas, I saw you nod. That leaves Sir John. You're on the top of the wagon, and Felix is commanding people to quietly move in, almost like a well-oiled scouting team as they move into the inn. What are you doing?
As I flip down and grab my sword, and go under the carriage, I will use his bonus, but I'm going to stay under the carriage. As everyone
I'll let you do that.
I'm going to stay under the carriage in case I can take a sort of come in through the back.
Nice.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that because Felix has used this special ability, you all move in and you have the advantage of stealth at the moment.
You want me to roll?
What?
No. You don't need me to roll a stealth?
No, because the enemies are not right there yet. You've used your ability and given everyone Mittens. You have an action to go in, but are you doing anything else?
Yeah, so I'll take a move action to get off and go with Felix using Felix's stealth, and then I'll use 2 actions to cast a magic weapon on my longbow.
Yeah,
which is going to give it a +1, and then also an extra damage die. So now it'll do 2d8 when I miss.
Great. No, don't say that.
2d8 when I miss.
Fine. She says. Okay. There's a moment of quiet while you're all kind of hiding in the burnt out inn, except Matt is under the wagon as figures are approaching. If you want to cast any preparatory spells as free actions, now is your chance to do that.
Oh, well.
I would like to at the very last moment, I would like to summon an elemental.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're preparing your thing. Lady Bibi cleans you up. She takes her little brush off and brushes dust off of all of you. She gives Mittens a little scritch, and then you all get +1 hit damage and on saving throws from her encouragement.
Rob, as I'm under this wagon, I'll think back to my master, who was actually my grandfather who taught me how to fight with my sword, and I'll go to the basic. I'll actually put my face down in the dirt and start to go over the rudimentary things that he taught me as a warrior, because I've never been this scared. And in this moment of quiet before the battle, I'll start to go through the basics to remind myself of what I want to do as we go into this battle.
You're doing that, Matt. Your character's doing that, and as you do that, you're kind of looking now, and you can see boots. They're soft leather boots as they go back, but then in the back, further back, you see hard leather boots with spiked spurs on the back. And then around them is, in the light, because the lanterns are still lit magically from where the inn was, you can see the long red coat. And the weird thing about it is the coat kind of catches open, and there's a surcoat under it, but the surcoat has long pointed red bits, almost like an elongated, you know how sometimes tabards have like triangular decorations? It's
Sure,
like that. It's almost jester-like in that when the coat catches open, he has some kind of circle. Find them. Bring me the young one. Kill or charge. I don't want any witnesses. Kill them all. And now they're all moving towards the inn, kind of looking for everyone. Out inside, you start hearing them approaching the inn. You can see there's a window above you. Go ahead.
Can you give us a lay of the topography inside the inn?
Sure. The inn is, you're in a main room. Picture a burnt out version of your Giant's Bane Tavern.
Nice!
There used to be a bar facing away. There's a little raised area that's now a ruined, burnt out fireplace off to the left. The stairs are going up. The whole second floor is collapsed, and there's a whole bunch of rubble in the middle, except that you could still kind of, if you're careful, stay along the wall to climb up and perch somewhere on the second floor. On the right-hand side, there's a door to a kitchen, but the kitchen's roof is gone because you can see moonlight coming in. And then in the back wall is all intact because that was made. And it looks like there was once a bar there, and you can still see like ruined, burnt bottles and bits of the bar. Is that clear?
Yeah,
there's also ruined tables. There's a couple tables intact at the edges are burnt, but they've been thrown to the side.
Rob, do they have time to like find a place inside? I mean,
they all have.
Okay.
Why don't you describe to me where you're hiding as the figures approach towards the end?
Is this for us?
Yes.
Oh, I am absolutely hiding behind the bar and taking a couple of shots before all of this goes down because it's been a day.
Okay, you do. You're looking for alcohol. You have to make a roll for that.
Okay, what are
Make a
we
charisma roll to see if you're just cool enough to find that bottle.
Charisma, I am not good at, sir. Yeah, no, I rolled a 13, so I don't know how.
Lady BB goes in her purse, hiding next to you, and produces a flask for you.
Oh, thank you. Cheers. And I don't leave any for her. I will drink the whole thing.
You do. Okay, anyone else? Where you're hiding?
Mittens will be right at the entrance, like back against the wall, so that when people start walking in, he's going to try and catch them all in a burst.
Okay. Two figures are coming in the end. Matt is underneath.
Real quick, Rob, sorry. I want to try and make it up onto the roof.
There's no roof, but you can perch on one of the places that's remaining on the second floor.
Yes.
So you see above them. You do. Climb up, and now you're perched up above. You see two hooded figures with long coats coming in the entrance. They're right next to Mittens. John is perched above them, and Vargas, you're hiding somewhere. Where
I'm just behind the bar. I'm just waiting behind the bar.
So
But
the rest of you are kind of behind the bar. So the young charge looks terrified. Lady BB looks remarkably calm. You see something weird as she prepares. She kind of looks and she scritches her silk pouch and she says, Silky, Silky, I need my sword. And the silk pouch opens its eyes and goes, bleh, and she goes and pulls a rapier from it and then closes it and pats it again and closes its eyes and looks like a silk purse.
What did she put in this flask?
What? That came from the purse too, by the way. Now that you're drinking it, you're about halfway through it, and you can hear figures. And now two are coming in the front door, but you can see that they're moving quickly around, and you hear chink, chink, chink of spurs as the creature, as something else is coming in. And Mittens, you're kind of the first to act as everyone else is hiding. Except I'm going to give Felix a little plus on the initiative because you're kind of perched above. You know what I mean? I'm going to bump you to a 14. So you go with Janine. What are you doing, Mittens? Now two figures are coming in.
Okay. Are those two figures along with that other sound that I'm hearing within
No,
20 feet?
That's you know, you of all people know that sound of those spurs is the man in the red coat.
Okay.
Make a wisdom check.
Wisdom, did you say?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it. 12.
12? You can't help yourself. You know you should be focused on the guys in the doorway and not show yourself, but because of your vision, you risk a look out the window, and the figure is standing under the light, prepared and putting on gloves, and he has a mask of stitched together leather, but it looks wrinkled in a way that you do not like. It seems to be tied on in these big eye holes that he's looking through. Some weird mask.
I do not like that.
And then you go back and you can take your action, and Felix, you and Janine are up next.
All right, I am going to burn one of my sweet spells here to try and catch these two that are walking towards me. Take out the mooks here. 20-foot burst. I'm going to cast Sudden Blight, which is going to just accelerate the process of decay in the area. If they are living, they'll take 2d10 negative damage unless they pass a fortitude save. And yeah, it's DC 19. If they crit success, so 29 or over, they take no damage. If they just succeed, 28 or below, they take half damage, and then it gets worse depending on what they roll.
Neither of them crit succeeded. One succeeded and one failed.
Okay, how bad was the fail? Was it lower than a 9?
No.
Well,
it was a 10. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. I'm glad you're honest. I'm going to roll some sweet damage here. This is going to be 2d10. Okay, that is going to be 17 points of damage. So 8 to one and 17 to the other.
The first person to step to the door throws up his hands and his face withers. Oh. He looks at his own hand as a wizard withers and grows old. He catches his throat. It's falls down in a kind of disturbing way. The second guy goes back and looks at his arm, and his arm is all kind of twisted from the spell, but he didn't go down. Bastard, necromancer. And he's getting a hand crossbow ready to reach in and shoot at Mittens. Janine and Felix, you're up. Felix, I'm sorry. I apologize. You can get +2 to hit on your next roll because the DM screwed up your name.
Janine, would you like to go, or do you want me to go?
Go ahead.
I'm firing 3 arrows right into the one that is pulling out his crossbow.
You do. Roll the hit.
All right. The first one is a 19.
Hits.
The second one is a 9.
Misses.
And the third one is a 4.
Even though you got pluses because you didn't expect someone to be above them, the other two just missed. They stuck in his leather armor. If you have sneak attack, you can make it because he just did not expect an attack coming from that direction.
Yeah, I'll take it. Even with the sneak attack, I only did 4 damage.
He cries out and doesn't go down. Janine?
Now that's the same fella that was getting his crossbow out.
Yes.
So at that guy, I will conjure up a acid arrow to hurl in his direction.
Roll hit.
That is a 21 to hit.
Oh, he takes a bite. His whole arm is twisted, and then acid shoots out.
And that is 20 points of acid damage.
He screams and he looks as a hole dissolves in his chest. He stumbles back through the door screaming. It gives the other rogues pause, but the person behind wearing the weird mask scowls at them and they start rushing forward. 2 down. And Vargas is up on 12.
All right, I apologize now for how complicated my turn is going to be. So I'm going to spend 1 action to command my fire method. which is going to spend 2 actions. First action is going to move forward to the closest target, and then it's going to try and make an attack with its jaws, which is a nat 1, so it's not going to do anything. It's going to make an attempt. And then I'm going to cast Flaming Sphere, and I'm going to drop that Flaming Sphere right on. How many are left in the room, like that are coming in?
None. You see 2 in the doorway now trying to rush in, and you catch some noise on the side. Looks like some are coming and jumping in through windows.
Okay, so I'm gonna cast Flaming Sphere right on the doorway. So it is an orb. It is an area of 1 5-foot square. So I'm gonna, if I can see it,
You'll get both of them coming in. Is that a roll to hit or a saving throw?
It is a saving throw on their part.
Dex?
Yes.
One guy leaps in and does a pretty impressive roll through it without taking damage, and the other guy throws his arms up and gets caught in it. The method, having rolled a natural 1, you for a second lose control. It gleefully is in a place where there was fire, and it begins lighting things back on fire that were put out, and the inn starts burning in different directions, especially where the doorway, the flaming sphere starts lighting the doorway, and now you can see flames kind of biting around the little bits of wood that were burnt but put out by the rain back in the day.
The one that did not succeed takes 10 points of damage, and that's my turn.
He comes flaming through, still burning, trying to put himself out with the leather armor.
Cool.
And I let Felix go, which means that
John Templeton.
You're up.
So John Templeton. So I'll roll out from underneath the bottom of the underneath the wagon. Do I see the red caped?
Oh yeah.
Right.
You could easily come up and confront him.
So I have written into my character that he's terrified of fire.
Yeah.
So as long as I don't see Vargas's fire, do I see Vargas's fire anywhere?
Yeah, oh yeah, he rolled the ball right into the doorway. You hear someone scream and burn on fire, and your exit back into the inn is now covered by a giant ball of flame. And you also hear something dancing and flames dancing in all the windows of the inn.
So in my character's creation, I'm like, he's terrified. The one thing he's terrified of is fire. So when he rolls out, he has his shield up and he's about to attack from his knee and sees the fire and screeches a little and tries to steady himself, Rob, in front of this character. And he gives away his element of surprise and he's and he'll attack through it anyways. So I will roll out as an action and terrified. And then I'd like to raise shield as my second action.
Yeah.
And then take as my third action, a double slice, which is a shield punch and a weapon slice.
You rise up and look at the guy, and under his hat, he has a mask, and it sticks together of what you know is human skin. He looks through, and the mask is tied and stretched over his face.
So the fire was terrifying. The mask of human flesh is even worse.
Okay.
So I'm going to take what I would normally do here is what I just said, which is a double slice. I think my first, in the fear of it all, I'm going to impose upon myself the shield. He raises the shield and forgets to take the double slice. So I'm only going to do one attack with my longsword. Oh, that's a D12. That does not work.
You don't want to. You're not hampered enough to roll a D12 to hit.
No. All right. 9 plus 12 is a plus a 1 because I still have my bonus, right? So that's 22.
Yeah. He catches your blade with a short sword that looks like a kris. In one hand, you come face to face. I like those scars, he says. That will adorn my mask. In his other hand, he goes, and like snaps out a straight razor, which is an odd weapon to fight with in the offhand.
I don't like anything about him, and I want to run, but I think about Lady Vivi, and she may be rich, so I'd rather die here than run away.
Very well.
So
They're up.
So I don't hit with a 22?
He does some weird reaction to parry using a feat that you may not know about.
I clearly don't, and I literally think to myself, I might as well die today.
Okay, a figure rolled in, spins around and fires a crossbow at Vargas. Oh, a 29?
Oh, that hits. That's a critical.
Take 13 damage.
Okay, I'm still alive.
Oh, my bad. Let me re-roll that. I forgot it's a hand crossbow. 5 damage. Sorry. Yes, he does not do he did not shoot you with a heavy crossbow. He shot you with a hand crossbow.
Okay, five's a lot better.
Yes. it zooms past even the bar, and then he moves along. You can see 2 figures use an action to climb in through the window. Pretty acrobatic. One with a pair of rapiers, and the other one goes and lets out a spiked chain. But his spiked chain seems not a big half-orc spiked chain, but very, very thin. And then another one with a crossbow is kind of like looking for a target on the other side. And then the figure with the straight razor looks at Matt, kind of smiles through the mask, and attacks Matt. Whoosh, the short sword misses. What's your armor class? You're muted.
My armor class, because I have a raise, is 23. I have my shield raised.
The first, he can't get past your guard with that short sword, but the straight razor, your shield prevented it from critting.
Nice.
He does 6 damage, and when he cuts with the straight razor, you can see it actually takes off some of your flesh, and there's like a strip between where your glove and your armor and your chainmail is that's now bleeding. You can feel blood running down your arm.
I lick it.
You do.
That's disgusting. Rob Ciccolini, that's disgusting.
Mittens, you're up.
Mittens is up. All right, I got my magic weapon now. I'm going to first action move into line of sight of this creature that is locked in battle with Sir John Templeton.
You do. You're ignoring the other rogues, the other thieves coming in through the windows.
I'm going right after.
You can move. You run through the burning building and see the figure out through the doorway.
Yeah, so through the flames,
Yes.
the subject of my vision is standing there, and I just pull back and fire the longbow. Come on. Damn it. That's a miss. I'm going to take one more attack for my final action. God, I'm rolling garbage.
Horrible kitty.
All right, this is going to be close. 16 to hit.
+1. No +1.
Misses.
Mittens. Somebody save the cat from the burning building.
The figure of the straight razor kind of throws back his shoulder as your crossbow goes by.
Your face,
Does this to
your
you.
face will be on his face.
No,
14. Janine and Felix are up.
Okay, I will call out, Sir John, imagine your enemies in their underwear. And I'll leap down towards the two rogues that are trying to sneak in and attack with my rapier.
I'm going to have them make. So neither of them make perception checks. They missed the fact that you attacked. So when you jump down, you get them by surprise. You can sneak attack one of them, I think.
Oh, cool.
Is sneak attack once
All right.
around?
You can
Is
sneak
sneak
attack.
attack
You can sneak attack every single action as long as
Okay.
they're considered to be flat-footed. It happens every single attack.
Yeah, they don't expect Felix from the rafters. So yeah, you get
18.
hits.
Take 10 damage.
Oh, the one that got damaged by the fire. You jump down and finish him off. And then on the other one.
That's my offhand, right?
Yeah.
With a 26.
Oh, hits. Do you
Take.
damage plus sneak attack?
Right. Nice. That's 12 damage.
Oh, still up, but barely. Janine?
So, am I muted or no?
Nope, you're good.
I'm not muted. Great. So how many of the other side villains?
John just took, Felix just took down one. Another one is really wounded. There's two, there's one, and there's the main guy.
I'm going to hurl an acid arrow at the main guy.
You do. You move and shoot at him through the window. Roll the hit.
Okay. That is a nat 20.
Oh, no.
Along with
Nice.
So it's a 29.
You crit him with your acid arrow. He throws up his hand and
Do I get double damage with that or
If it's a crit, yeah. So with
Okay,
a nat
so-
20, it's considered one level higher if it would hit.
yeah.
okay. Yeah. That's 32 points
Yes. He has
of acid
Go ahead.
damage.
So behind his skin mask, he has a smug look as the arrow goes by and parries your run. All of a sudden, he screams out, stumbling back. You can see the acid burns away the mask and it peels off. And he's like, he has a normal face underneath. Like this is something he wears. Screaming and swinging around and trying to get the acid off of him. And he's beginning to panic because he took so much damage. You did 32? And when he does that, he's like, no, I'll kill them all. And he's trying to get a ring off. But he took so much damage in your hit that the ring like glows. And he's like, no, let me stay. And he dimension doors out. Like some active thing, if he took too much damage, would take him out, and you one-shotted him with the spell.
Oh.
I did it! I did something!
And Matt, you're looking as the magic pulls him away, but not before acid burned away and half the mask goes and falls to the ground at his feet. Oh, nasty. Nasty. That he was supposed to be really cool. Vargas, you're up.
You start to hear the bellows of a cackle come from Vargas as he is now sustaining 2 spells, and he has an ability called Cackle, which allows him to sustain an additional spell on his turn. So you just hear him going as he moves the spear into the closest enemy to hit, and then commands his fire mephite to attack the next person closest to it. So
the spear hits the damaged one.
Okay, and that's a reflex save of 19.
Oh, he rolls a natural 1, screams, lights on fire, and can't even escape the building before he falls dead.
Then the mephite goes to the next one closest to it, and it rolls an attack. 17 plus 9, so it gets a 28.
28 crits. You got what you needed to crit.
Yeah, and so that would be 1d6 plus 1d4 fire damage. So
I start screaming, Rob. I start screaming, stop it! Stop! Stop it! What are you doing, you monster?
It takes 5 damage. Okay, and so that's not the end of my turn. I'm going to then cast let's go ahead and cast Electric Arc on the next person. Electric Arc is going to be another reflex save in 19.
Yeah. Are you hitting the one that the method hit?
Yes.
19. You got 18. Oh.
So it's a normal. So he takes 5 points of damage.
He's still up.
Cool. That is my turn.
Nice.
But yeah, you still see Vargas as he's like controlling and moving, just laughing maniacally the entire time.
Do you have Intimidate?
I 1 second. I do not. This is the one character I have not put a point in Intimidation.
Sir John, you're up.
I'll say to him, "Run, you fool, run!"
To who?
And I do have Intimidate, Rob.
Okay, make an Intimidate roll.
I roll a 5, and I have 5 points of Intimidate, but I'm so terrified of the fire method.
Hero point it.
11. I don't know what that means. I have 11 because of her bonus.
You can spend a hero point to re-roll if you want.
I spend my hero point. Oh, 19.
Oh, nice.
24. Run, you fool. And then I say it again.
Look around. The inn is starting to go on fire. The caster, like, one spell took out their horrible leader who wears a skin mask. Like, half of them are dead, and they use their reaction to think better of it. They disengage and start moving into the shadows away and leaving you all panting.
Rob, I take out my sword, I stab the flesh mask, and I make my way to Vargas, and I grab him and I throw him against the wall. And I'll say to him, get that fire beast out of here before I drive your head through this wall.
And I dismiss all of the fire.
Things go quiet. The wagon is not, the carriage is not destroyed. You're all breathing heavy. The night grows silent. And I'll stop for now because we're 7 minutes over.
Hey!
Huzzah!
Nice.
I did not appreciate that at all.
Look, how was I supposed to know you were afraid of fire? I would have gone with a water elemental.
No, it was perfect. And that acid spell was clutch. You one-shotted my big villain. Holy crap. 30 points of damage. Yeah.
That's awesome. That was killer.
Had good defenses against melee, but not an acid splash that did that much damage. That was awesome.
Man.
Nice.
That was
all right.
great.
Thank you all. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joining in.
Thank you so much for coming on and guest running the game. Really, really appreciate it. I hope you guys all had a good time. Before I give closing comments about the Kickstarter, can we hear from you guys? Where can folks follow you? Jake?
Sure. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at IndigoQT, or if you want to find out all of the things that we do when it comes to streaming, like I said, we stream 7 days a week. You can find that at _QueueTimes on Twitter. Those are the best places to find us. We've got a lot of stuff going on, like a lot.
Noura?
Hi, you could find me at on Instagram and Twitter at Neurological, and I stream most days of the week, so you could find updates on all the different networks that I'm regularly on.
Cool. Troy?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Insta, and Twitter at Troy Lavellee. But check out the Glass Cannon Network, glasscannonnetwork.com. We stream on Thursdays and Friday nights. New shows coming out next year. Just check us out. Lots of stuff going on.
Matthew, what have you got going on right now?
I'm Matthew Lillard on Twitter and on Instagram. I just want to say, as one of the founders of this company, it has been an unbelievable joy to play with you, Jake, and you, Troy, and you, Noura. You guys have been awesome. We had a great stream tonight with a bunch of people. So thank you so much for spreading it to your communities. Thank you for supporting our company. It's Support a Small Company Saturday, and we are that. And so we want to say thank you to everyone who's being here and you guys for giving your time and your energy and effort. And we are just, we're moved and humbled that you guys are here. So thank you so much. And then Rob, it's been so many years since we played together, and I just love you, and I love the fact that we got to play with you and your brother tonight, and it was just a real joy for me personally. We stream a lot, and not every game is fun, but tonight I had a blast playing a character I never played before, and spending time with you guys was fucking awesome. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, it was great. I was glad to run for you again. And you all were great. Thank you very much. Your characterizations were awesome. And you made it a joy for me to run for you. Awesome.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.